Hi CAISTROLOGY family, welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. First of all, a big Happy New Year to all of you. This year is going to be amazing when it comes to the sheer amount of astrological change and new cycles that we're going to be seeing taking place. So if you're interested in a very comprehensive, detailed analysis of what you can expect for 2025 for your sign, I'm excited to announce that you can now purchase your 2025 yearly horoscopes. So these horoscopes are all 2 to 2.5 hours each in length. I've poured many hours into each and every one of these, and of course a lot of love. So I do recommend that if you're wanting to just purchase the one, that you start off with your ascendant sign, also known as the rising sign, because this will be the most accurate overall. However, if you have the means, I would definitely recommend that you purchase for your rising sun and moon sign, because looking at all three will give you a very thorough and well-rounded idea of what you can expect for the year ahead. Although the ascendant sign is the most accurate overall, generally speaking, the sun sign horoscope will tell you about your career, your life goals, and your big dreams for the future. Whereas the moon sign horoscope will tell you about love, relationships, family dynamics, as well as your property and living circumstances, and more so it pertains to your emotional and psychological well-being too. So in terms of the flow of these readings, they're all in chronological order with timestamps provided. But as for January, I'll be starting off with Aries and ending in Pisces, so you can click for your sign using the timestamps in the description box below. And of course, this is a tropical Western astrology reading, and I always forget to mention this, but you guys, if you enjoy the reading, please give the video a thumbs up, and if you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. I've got some exciting plans for this YouTube channel, so I'm really hoping to post more often and more frequently for you guys. So now let's get into Aries. Hi Aries, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. There's a lot going on for you guys in January, but even as early as December, when we had the Mars retrograde kick off in Leo, this would have been, I suppose, the first point at which you were starting to feel the shift in your energy, because Mars is your chart ruler. So we'll start from the top. On the 3rd of January, Mars, your chart ruler, will be retrograde in Leo, and it will form an opposition with Pluto in Aquarius in your 11th in your 11th house at 1 degrees. So the 5th house is all about fun, love, children, romance, as well as your hobbies, passions, and it also rules over starting your own business and creative projects. So Pluto being in your 11th house, which rules over your long-term goals and dreams for the future, as well as your passive forms of income and your wider network, indicates that there's this push and pull between these two houses. So of course this can play out in a number of different ways, but let's say on the creative front, this can indicate that you may be feeling a bit of, let's say, pressure to perform, pressure to maybe finish a creative project and release it out into the world. This can indicate there may be even being some sexual tension between you and a friend or a friend of a friend. On a different level, this can indicate a bit of, let's say, tension when it comes to you and an older sibling, or maybe tension between you and a friend. And on a different note, this can indicate that there is a bit of a, let's say, tug of war when it comes to power dynamics between you and your child, or you and your children if you have them. And lastly, with this one, you may just be feeling a lot of pressure when it comes to your long-term goals and dreams, finishing creative projects, maybe starting your own business, or if you already own your own business, maybe you're just feeling a bit of pressure when it comes to finishing deadlines or achieving certain goals and objectives. Now, on the 6th of January, Mars, your chart ruler, is going to leave the sign of Leo in your 5th house, and it's going to retrograde back into Cancer in your 4th house. So Mars will be direct once more on the 24th of February. So we've got just under 2 months of Mars being retrograde in your 4th house. Now, not only is it your chart ruler, but it is actually squaring you from the 4th house. So previously in Leo, this was a trine, but when it's a square, there's more tension here. So because Mars is your chart ruler, whatever house it transits and whatever aspects it's making, this is effectively indicating you and where you're putting your energy and your effort into, right? So the 4th house rules over your property, your living circumstances, your family as well. And so to have Mars retrograde here is indicative of you wanting to achieve certain goals and objectives around the house. This could be to do with building, renovating, doing a big cleanup, or maybe installing certain things, whether this is inside the home or around the perimeter. Maybe you're looking at building a fence or erecting a shed or a garage or doing a big cleanup of your property. Mars retrograde in the 4th house can indicate tensions running high with loved ones. So this could be with your parents, with your children, or anyone that you basically share your living situation with. So this could be siblings, this could be flatmates, this could be your significant other or your in-laws, literally whoever is living with you. Okay, on a different note, when Mars is retrograde in the 4th house, because the 4th house is related to family and our childhood, it can dredge a lot of stuff up. So you may just be thinking about stuff that happened so many years ago and you're like, I thought I was over this. Why am I still focusing on this? And yet it just seems to be coming up for you again and again. So once more, this is from the 6th of January until the 24th of February. Now, moving along, on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we are going to experience a nodal shift. So the North Node will be leaving Aries in your 1st house and entering Pisces in your 12th house. Simultaneously, the South Node is going to be leaving Libra in your 7th house and entering Virgo in your 6th house. So the nodes in Aries and Libra was an 18-month transit that started in mid-July of 2023. Now, since that time, you may have been through lots of changes in your life because the North Node has transited your 1st house. So if you're an Aries rising, maybe you've changed your appearance, maybe your demeanor, maybe your character, how you carry yourself, your posture, your dress sense, and what you feel your purpose is in life. All of this could have changed. If you're an Aries sun, maybe you changed jobs or careers during this time, or maybe you felt like you discovered a big element of your life purpose and goals, even lofty goals that you want to set for the future. If you're an Aries moon, maybe you became a parent during this time or a grandparent, or you entered a relationship or exited a relationship or changed your property and living circumstances. In any case, categorically speaking, to have the South Node now leaving Libra will be an enormous reprieve for all Aries when it comes to your relationships of all kinds: romantic, marriage, business partnerships, friendships, client relationships. All of these have taken a hit with the South Node transiting your sign since mid-July in 2023. But more to the point, what to expect with the nodes entering your 12th and 6th house respectively. First of all, this is an 18-month transit that will end on the 27th of July in 2026. The 12th house is the hidden realm. It's spiritual in nature, so it rules over things like esotericism, yoga, meditation, anything that we do in quiet solitude. It does also rule over self-sabotaging behaviors. It rules over keeping to ourselves, being in isolation, but it also has a creative bent to it too. So it rules over music and, you know, the fine arts and that sort of thing, and also acting and photography and filmography. So the North Node going into the 12th house can indicate that you are becoming deeply interested in these things, and maybe you start pursuing them with vigor or with gusto, and you just develop quite a passion for one or more of these things. Now with the South Node entering Virgo in your 6th house, well, the 6th house rules over your daily habits and routines, your day-to-day work life, so the job that you do. It rules over employees, it rules over pets, it rules over debts, and it rules over all kinds of conflictual situations. So while the North Node has this energy of bringing something tangible to us or to the house that it is transiting, the South Node has the opposite effect. So it's letting go, it's doing a purge, it's dissolving something from this house. So what this means is that you can kick bad habits, you know, whether these are addictions or biting your nails or something like that, or maybe you are paying off a debt, or you're having certain debts or fees waived. On a different note, you may be taking a step back from the work that you're doing, maybe leaving a job, maybe letting go of employees, or maybe some of your employees will be walking away from, you know, the workplace that you've set up. For others of you, this can see you well, actually, the South Node can bring things back from the past. So you may re-enter the workforce. You may actually have someone who had left your company or business return to work for you. And for others of you, this can indicate maybe being reunited with a pet, okay? But also the South Node can create distance from a pet. So I know for me, when I had the South Node in my 6th house, this is when I was, I think, doing a lot of travel, so not spending as much time with my pet. So maybe you're getting someone to look after your animals for you while you're away or while you're traveling. And of course, there's a multitude of different ways that this can play out. Aries, if you're looking for a very in-depth analysis of what you can expect for the nodal shift and the eclipses and all this other exciting astrological activity that pertains to your sign, I do recommend that you invest in your 2025 yearly horoscope, because we've got Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years this year at the end of March, and we've also got Saturn entering Aries for the first time in nearly 30 years in May. So if you're wanting to purchase your 2025 horoscope, you can do so by clicking the link in the description box below. But moving along, on the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to have a full moon in Cancer, and this is going to be taking place at 23 degrees. So I'll give you a little look at it here. I don't think you guys can see my cursor, but you can see that we've got, just hang on, here we go. Just here, that's the full moon in Cancer at 23 degrees. It is conjunct Mars at 27 degrees, which is your ruling planet. And if you look over here, it's making a sextile to Uranus in Taurus. And over here, gosh, this is really hard. Over here, we've got it making a trine to Neptune. Actually, that's better, isn't it? I'm going to figure this out for next time. I wish I could edit this out already, but it's too late. This is a live stream. So anyway, it's a full moon in your 4th house at 23 degrees. So full moons are all about letting go. They are all about a situation reaching its peak or a chapter coming to a close. So with the full moon in your 4th house, this can indicate that you may be overcoming some kind of argument or disagreement with a family member or with someone that you live with. Some of you may be buying during this time, or selling or relocating. For others of you, this could indicate that you are having important conversations with family members or with loved ones. With this sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 2nd house, this could actually indicate that you're receiving some financial assistance somehow. Okay, so maybe you're being approved for a loan, or someone is helping you out with either finances or resources. So this could even be someone letting you live in their home, or letting you stay at their cabin or their beach house or something like that. But in any case, because we've got this beautiful sextile to Uranus in Taurus, as well as a trine to Neptune, and also, to be fair, Venus and Saturn in Pisces as well, to me this indicates that there is some kind of, all of a sudden I'm getting this image of like letting air out of a balloon. So it's like there's been all of this tension, but now, you know, you're finally able to just move on somehow. I will say that despite these positive aspects, because the full moon is conjunct Mars, this might be prefaced by an argument or a bit of a flare up or tension, or just like a rise of heat and anger. So if that's the case, don't worry. I really do see that you will be able to overcome this difficulty or this issue. And it could even be that you're in the throes of relocating during this time, and there's just a lot of pressure around then. So once more, this is the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world. But this energy will be with you for 2 weeks either side of the full moon. So it can be 1 to 2 weeks before, or 1 to 2 weeks after. So now let's have a look at the new moon in Aquarius. Okay, so I've just changed the screen there. This is the new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees, and it's in your 11th house. So if you look at that up there in the top left hand corner, the new moon is conjunct Mercury. It's conjunct Pluto, but all it's doing is making a trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your 11th house, which is really, really positive. We don't get many full moons that, you know, have this like mostly helpful and beneficial supporting aspects. But in any case, a new moon is about a new chapter taking place, a new beginning taking place. So this indicates that with it being in your 11th house, you may be having the opportunity to make new friends, to attend a social event or engagement, or perhaps you will be planning something yourself. The 11th house relates to our wider network as well as communities. So this can see you intending to get more involved with your community, or maybe you're seeing that there are opportunities on the horizon to do as much. Others of you may be planting the seeds to generate some kind of passive form of income or residual form of income. So remember, new moons are about planting those seeds, not necessarily seeing the fruits of our labor just yet. So, you know, whatever you're starting around the 29th of January, plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks, so either side of that new moon, you can see results start to take place, maybe as early as a month, because that's, you know, how long it takes for a lunar cycle to be complete, so 29 days. Or maybe you're even looking to the first full moon in Aquarius, which will be 6 months, or the subsequent full moon in Aquarius, which is 18 months from now. Of course, that doesn't have to be the timing though. And lastly, with this one, because it is trining Jupiter in Gemini in your 3rd house, to me this indicates that maybe this is about upskilling, learning something new, you know, planning to get an apprenticeship or some kind of new qualification, or learn something new. Maybe this is about learning something online, or perhaps putting together some online educational content yourself. So Aries, that's all I have for January. And once more, if you are interested in purchasing your 2025 horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks, Aries. And now let's move on to Taurus. Hi Taurus Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 yearly horoscope. This is an exciting month because we've got a nodal shift taking place. So the nodes only change signs once every 18 months. So we'll be going into some detail about that. But let's start from the top. On the 3rd of January, we will have Mars retrograde in Leo in your 4th house, making an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius in your 10th house. So this is a tense aspect, and Mars opposite Pluto can bring up power dynamics and, the urge to control and to know what's coming next. But because of this opposition, it creates this push and pull energy, right? So the 4th house rules over your family, your property, your living circumstances, as well as your emotional health and well-being. So when we have Mars or Pluto in the 4th house, and certainly making this opposition, it can just put a lot of tension on us when it comes to our family dynamics, our family relationships, as well as the relationships that we have with our children, with our flatmates, with our significant other, or anyone that we live with. On a different note though, the 10th house is all about your public life, your career, and your big goals and dreams. Well, it's more about your the legacy that you want to create and leave behind, as well as your highest level of responsibility possible, whether this is owning your own business, the position you hold at work, being a parent, working for a non-for-profit organization. It's really about positions of leadership. So on a different note, the 10th house does rule over our public status in any sense: relationship status, property status, job status, employment status, even your government status as well, if you're a citizen, a permanent resident, and so on and so forth. So Mars opposite Pluto in your 4th and 10th house indicates this tension between your home life, your responsibilities at home, whether this is to your family, cooking, cleaning, children, or just stuff around the house, and what you're doing at work. So you can feel pushed and pulled in all different directions when it comes to these two areas of your life. On a different note, this can see you feeling like you have to push back when it comes to your job or your work, or you just feel like you want to do more and you want to set big goals and big dreams. But for others of you, this can be a real power struggle, whether this is with another person, so someone who maybe has some kind of authority over you, or who is a disciplinarian figure in your life, or just you feeling that for yourself, like I should be doing more, I want to create more, or perhaps you feel like you want to change your living situation, you want to change your relationship status, you want to end relationships or quit your job, or like go out and start something new. But there can be a lot of fear that comes up around this time. So again, this is the 3rd of January. You can feel the effects a couple days before, a couple days after. It's not necessarily a big deal, quote unquote, but if you are a Taurus around 1 degree, even 0 to let's say 5 degrees, then you could be feeling this energy quite strongly, that you need to make an important change when it comes to relationships, family, or your living situation, and or your career and what you want to do out in the world and how you want to be known and your public reputation and so on and so forth. So on the 6th of January, Mars will leave Leo. So it's been retrograde in Leo since the 6th of December in your 4th house, and it's going to retrograde back into Cancer in your 3rd house. Phew, this is a lot easier because now it's not going to be squaring Taurus, Sun, Moon, and risings. And I'm a Taurus myself, and I've been feeling it pretty heavily. In any case, now Mars will be sextiling you, which is far more easy to navigate. In any case, Mars is retrograde in Cancer in your 3rd house from the 6th of January till the 24th of February, so just under 2 months. Now, the 3rd house rules over friends, siblings, neighbors, your local community and network. It also rules over vehicles, education, studies, friends, school friends and co-workers, as well as anything to do with technology, marketing, sales and media, etc. So Mars retrograde here in the 3rd house can indicate a very productive time for you. So you may be working on a project, you may be educating yourself with something, you may be trying to finish off an apprenticeship or achieve a qualification, you may be studying for an exam or a test, you may be putting together some kind of course content or course material. This can indicate conflict or disagreements with siblings, with neighbors, or with friends. But in any case, I repeat, Mars retrograde is sextiling you. So this is a much easier energy to handle, and this is a positive aspect that it is making. Also, I wanted to say that you may be needing to get your car serviced. This is a high-level warning for things going awry with vehicles that you own, especially cars. So if you know you need to get your car serviced, or you need to, maybe replace tires or just put more air in them or get certain things checked out, I do recommend that you do so during this time. Now, on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to experience a nodal shift. So the North Node is going to leave Aries in your 12th house and enter Pisces in your 11th house, whereas the South Node is going to leave Libra in your 6th house and enter Virgo in your 5th house. So this is an 18-month transit which will last until the end of July in 2026. So in a nutshell, the North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting, and the South Node will dissolve something from the house that it is transiting. In saying that, the South Node can bring things back from the past, okay, which I'll get into once I do that segment, but I do want to start off with the North Node. So North Node in your 11th house can indicate that you are making new friends, joining a new community, maybe forming your own new community, setting big life goals for yourself, and starting new projects, especially if these projects are let's say quite complicated, quite complex, and that involve a lot of moving pieces. So in any case, the North Node in your 11th house can also see you during this 18-month period focusing on developing new passive and residual forms of income. Okay, so it is an exciting time to have the North Node transit your 11th house. I have no doubt that your wider network will expand exponentially. With having the South Node in your 5th house, this can indicate some of you may be reunited with love from the past, or perhaps you are realizing that you are in love with someone and you were not aware of this. It just kind of like snuck up on you, and then one day you're like, oh, I can't believe I can't believe this, how did I not see this coming? How did I not realize that this was happening? And, this has happened to me, having the South Node go through my 5th house, and it was definitely triggered by eclipses as well. So in any case, the South Node going through your 5th house for some of you can indicate perhaps being pregnant and not knowing. For others of you, if you've been in a no contact situation with your child or one of your children, this can indicate being reunited with them. Because the 5th house rules over your creative gifts and hobbies and passions, this can also indicate that you are rediscovering your love of something from your childhood, or something that you used to be passionate about, or that you used to pursue. For others of you, this can see you maybe closing down a business, or completing certain creative projects, or walking away from them. Or if you had a business already and you had it on ice, or maybe you had a business idea on pause, the South Node going through your 5th house can maybe see you reprising this idea or resurrecting it somehow. Okay, Taurus, if you are wanting a comprehensive and in-depth breakdown of what the nodes changing signs and the eclipses will mean for you, you can purchase your yearly horoscope, your 2025 yearly horoscope. So if you're wanting to do so, there's a link in the description box below. And of course, I go into tons of detail about all the other astrological transits and events that we're going to experience in 2025. But moving along with your January horoscope. On the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, there will be a full moon in Cancer in your 3rd house, and it will be at 23 degrees and 59 minutes conjunct Mars. What's lovely about this full moon is that it is sextiling Uranus in Taurus in your 1st house. Perfect sextile at 23 degrees. So to me, this is indicative of you achieving a goal, finishing a project, feeling pleased or satisfied or relieved about achieving something, or something leaving your life. It's like you're overcoming something, especially because not only is this full moon being not only is it at 23 degrees, which is the Aquarius degree, it's sextile Uranus, which, has that Aquarian energy anyway. So it's like something occurs around the 13th or 14th of January, plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks before or after. And, this is like perhaps an opportunity for you to have completed a qualification, an education course, maybe course content that you've been working on, maybe a blog post or some kind of project. Maybe this is really positive feedback from clients or people that you've been working with or working for. And on a different note, this full moon is conjunct Mars, and it's making a trine to Venus, which is your ruling planet, as well as Saturn and Neptune in Pisces in your 11th house. So to me, this indicates that there is some kind of positive development that involves other people, friends, parties, events, projects. The 3rd house and the 11th house are both air houses. These are social houses by nature. But as I was saying, I do just get this feeling that Taurians are going to achieve an important goal or milestone in their life, or overcome something in their life, let go of something that has been troubling them. So I'm very excited about this full moon in Cancer. Now, moving along on the 29th, so subtle change here on the screen, on the 29th of January, there will be a new moon in Aquarius in your 10th house at 9 degrees. And if you look at this new moon, it's conjunct Mercury, it's conjunct Pluto, and it's making a very close trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your second house. So new moons are about a new chapter, a new start, planting new seeds that we want to see, basically take root and produce or yield results in the future. So the 10th house is all about your career, your public life, your public profile and persona. Okay, it's not just career, it also relates to statuses of all kinds: property status, relationship status, government status, employment status. Did I say relationship status? I think so. And even parental status too. So this can indicate that you're planting the seeds for something new in one of these departments. Maybe wanting to start a new job, apply for a promotion, start your own business, take on more leadership, or let's say responsibilities, or a leadership position at work. On a different note, if you are in a relationship, this can indicate that you and your significant other are maybe making plans to get married with that 9 degrees there, or plans to travel, or to start a business. And maybe this is to do with import and export with that 9 degrees. And I say business because the new moon is conjunct Mercury, and that rules over all kinds of, business ventures and ideas and what have you. On a different note, this can see you wanting to create a legacy or contribute something to your legacy. So also with this one, with the trine to Jupiter in your second house, this indicates that there's a financial component here, or something that relates to earning more money, increasing your income, procuring new resources, or potentially looking at making a big investment, especially because Jupiter is here and Jupiter expands whatever it touches. So this new moon is at 9 degrees. That means it's squaring Taurus, sun, moon, and risings. And the Taurians who will feel it the most would be those around 9 degrees. Even 1 degrees, I would say, just because we've got, Pluto and Mercury around there. So 1 degrees up to about 14 degrees Taurus, sun, moon, and risings, you'll be feeling it the most. And once more, Taurus, just a reminder that you can purchase your 2025 yearly horoscopes by using the link in the description box below. Anyway, Taurus, that's all I have for you for January 2025. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and have a great 2025. And I'll be seeing you guys next month. So now let's move on to Gemini. Hi Gemini, sun, moon, and risings. Happy New Year, and welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. So let's start straight up from the top. On the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 3rd house will make an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius in your 9th house at 1 degrees. So fortunately, Mars is sextiling you and Pluto is trining you. So this opposition and its energy is easier to handle than, let's say, those who are fixed signs. In any case, you may feel this energy a couple days before, so even from the 1st of January and maybe a couple of days after, so till around the 5th of January, where there could just be this tension between your day-to-day comings and goings, the friends that you keep, the mindset that you have, the books that you read, the information that you consume, and the conversations that you have, and what you want to be doing. Because the 9th house is like your vision for your future, your belief systems, whether these are political, spiritual, religious, or even just your moral compass and your personal code of ethics. So Mars opposite Pluto in this, activating this 3rd and 9th house axes just indicates that there is some kind of dissatisfaction or pressure that you feel between where you are like present moment with that third house energy and where you want to be going. And so this can relate to travel, this can relate to education opportunities, this can relate to what kind of person you want to be, or how you really want to be spending your time, or how you would be spending your time if, you know, money wasn't a factor and if you didn't have these other like responsibilities. Some of you may feel that your views of the world are being challenged. Again, these can be religious, these can be political, these can be to do with how you believe the world works and functions on any possible level. So you may feel that there is pushback from friends, from siblings, from neighbors, from co-workers or clients, or, you know, people that you study with. And for others of you, the pressure may be coming from teachers, or like a business coach or a life coach or a counselor or a psychologist, or even a father figure who's like, you know, atting you like, why are you doing this? Why don't you do that? So what I would say for this transit is conversations can quickly become politically charged, just loaded, kind of tense, kind of icky conversations. So if you can see that the person that you're dealing with or speaking to has even like the polar opposite view of you, or a vastly different view from you, I mean to say, then you may just want to take a step back, reply to that text later, or walk away from that conversation, because things can just get real tense with this one. Moving along though, on the 6th of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your third house will be leaving that third house and entering Cancer in your second house. So it's traveling backwards. It will be in your second house from the 6th of January until the 24th of February. So almost 2 months, or a little bit under here. The second house relates to finances, income, resources, as well as our personal values. The second Mars retrograde in the second house can just be a really expensive time, lots of bills, lots of things to pay for. This can see you maybe looking at doing a bit of a clear out, a bit of a cleanup. So maybe putting things on Facebook Marketplace, or just selling things online, with Mars ruling over your 11th house. And Mars retrograde in the second house can indicate that you may be trying to cut something out of your diet, because the second house rules over food and nutrition, but Mars rules the 6th house, and the 6th house rules over daily habits, as well as things like addictions. So some of you may be trying to cut out smoking, pot, or vaping, nicotine use, or other harder drugs. So this could be a time where you are having to use a lot of your willpower and energy and effort to ensure that you are successful, or have a successful result, let's say. So one last thing with this one, I would say that Mars retrograde in the second house can indicate maybe feeling like you have more of a sensitive stomach, or just maybe certain allergies playing up. If you do have certain allergies, I would just be extra careful around this time. So let's say if you're at a restaurant and you tell them you're allergic to peanuts, just be really, really careful, because, mistakes can happen, of course. So you just want to be prepared with, whatever you may need, especially if you're anaphylactic. Now, on the 11th/12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to experience a nodal shift. So the North Node will leave Aries in your 11th house and enter Pisces in your 10th house, whereas the South Node will leave Libra in your 5th house and it will enter Virgo in your 4th house. Now, it's an 18-month transit, and this one will will conclude at the end of July in 2026. So for you guys, the nodes are going to be squaring you because they are in mutable signs in your 4th and your 10th house. In the year of 2025, the nodes will travel from 29 degrees backwards through till 11 degrees. So if you're a Gemini between 11 and 29 degrees, you're going to feel the square in 2025. If you are a Gemini between 0 and 10 degrees, you'll experience the square in the first 7 months of 2026. So in any case, the North Node is going to bring something new to the house that it is transiting, whereas the South Node is going to dissolve something from the house that it is transiting, or in some cases, the South Node can bring something back from the past. Starting with the North Node. First of all, North Node going through the 10th house can indicate lots of changes when it comes to work, career, relationship status, parental status, employment status. For me, I'm a Gemini rising, but my midheaven, so my 10th house cusp is Aries. And while the North Node transited my 10th house, lots of things happened in my life. My divorce was finalized. I entered into a new relationship, and I also changed living address. So I moved across 2 states, so pretty much halfway across the country. And this also reflects that South Node in the 4th house energy, where I was saying goodbye to my family home, or let's say my hometown, and moving into state. So I share this with you to indicate that during this time you may be entering a new relationship, or coming out of an old relationship or a former relationship, or both, exiting one and entering another. You may be getting divorced, you may be getting engaged, you may be getting married, you may become a parent, you may become a grandparent, and it could be any kind of parent, step parent, foster parent, adoptive, and so on and so forth. So it is a huge 18-month period, especially with respect to career and your professional status. So again, for me during this time, I got additional qualifications and expanded the kinds of work that I do out in some, different directions. And, I share this with you just to indicate that if you've been wanting to call in some kind of career shift, you can definitely do so while the North Node is transiting your 10th house. So Geminis, if you're wanting a really in-depth breakdown and a comprehensive analysis of what to expect with this 18-month nodal shift, you can purchase your 2025 yearly horoscope. And more than that, we've got huge transits happening in 2025. And the biggest one for Geminis is that Uranus is going to enter Gemini for the first time in 84 years. Okay, so most of you have never experienced this, and this is going to be a mover and shaker. So I go into huge detail for what you can expect as a Gemini rising sun and moon with this one. But this is your January horoscope, so let's move it along, you guys. On the 13th of January, there will be a full moon in Cancer. This will be at 23 degrees. It will be conjunct Mars, and it's in your 2nd house. It is making a perfect sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 12th house. And look at that. It's making a nice trine to Neptune in Pisces, and it is also making a wide trine to Venus and Saturn in Pisces as well. So full moons are all about a chapter coming to a close, or some kind of ending taking place in our lives. So with this full moon in your 2nd house, this can indicate perhaps receiving an increase in pay, an increase in salary, maybe a lump sum of money. For others of you, you could be selling off certain possessions and valuables. And for others of you, the 2nd house is related to, as I mentioned before, diet and food. So you may be cutting out certain foods or certain things from your diet. And the second house also rules over storage and anything that we keep in storage. So you may be doing a really big cleanup and a clear out. I know there's some overlap here with the Mars retrograde, so just bear with me for the interpretation. In any case, it could be that with Mars retrograde in your 6th house, you're starting to see what you've been working on since around early January, or maybe even September last year when Mars first entered Cancer, to, come to fruition somehow, or something that you planned, a few weeks ago or a few months ago could be, yielding results around the 13th of January, plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks. So that's 1 to 2 weeks before or 1 to 2 weeks after. Now, on the 29th of January, let's change screens here. There's a new moon in Aquarius taking place. This is at 9 degrees and it's in your 9th house. So it's trining you. And look, it's making a very close trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your 1st house, which is super duper positive. And this particular new moon is conjunct Mercury, which is your ruling planet, and it's also conjunct Pluto. So the 9th house rules over our belief systems, religious, political, spiritual, as well as our moral compass and our personal code of ethics. It rules over import and export. It rules over publishing. It rules over our big goals for the future. Yes, the 11th house is related to our big goals as well, but the 9th house is like your vision for your future. What would you be doing if money wasn't an object? What would you be doing if you didn't care what other people thought of you? Okay, so the new moon here in your 9th house, making all of this, all of these positive aspects and conjunct your chart ruler, indicates that this is at the forefront of your mind around the 29th of January. Again, plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks. So we're looking at mid-Jan to mid-Feb. So some of you may be looking at writing a book, getting published, starting a business that involves import and export, booking a ticket overseas, anything to do with travel, maybe applying for an international passport or permanent residency. Some of you may be initiating new legal proceedings for one reason or another. The 9th house is also related to marriage, and so is Jupiter, and this is, trining Jupiter in Gemini in your 1st house. So this could be, for some of you, maybe planning a proposal or getting engaged around this time, or having important conversations about marriage. And it doesn't just have to be marriage, you guys. This can also be about your relationship. Where is it going? What's in our future? And the reason why I'm talking about relationships is because Jupiter, the new moon trining Jupiter, is bringing up 7th house influences, because Jupiter rules over your 7th house, which represents love, partnerships, relationships, and marriage. Okay, so, well, the 7th house isn't so much love, but it's your relationship. Okay, so again, exciting new moon with big goals and big dreams coming up. Some of you may be having a change when it comes to your religious outlook on life, your beliefs, or maybe getting more involved with your local church or temple, or just exploring religion further, or spirituality as well. Okay, Gemini, so that's all I have for you for your January horoscope. If you enjoyed this video, Gemini, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and wishing you guys so many blessings for 2025. And now let's move on to Cancer. Hi Cancer Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. Well, I have to say Cancer is one of the most affected signs by the astrology of January. So I hope that you stick around for the whole reading, Cancer. Let's get straight into it though. On the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 2nd house will make an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degrees in your 8th house. So the 2nd and the 8th houses in astrology are related to finances and resources. The 2nd house is your personal income, your personal finances and resources, whereas the 8th house is your mutual resources. Now, it cuts both ways. These are the resources that you have access to or receive from other people. Okay, so as an example, maybe you share a bank account with your partner, and so that's reflected by that 8th house energy. Or maybe your family has a beach house and you all share and take it in turns to use this property. But on a different note, the 8th house is also the money that you contribute to other people. Okay, so this can be child support, spousal support, alimony money. It also rules over inheritances and so on and so forth. So look, Mars retrograde is already quite tense energy, and it can bring flare-ups of anger and heat and passion, but also strong sexual energy too, and reinforced drive and willpower. So that's Mars retrograde on its own, but the opposition to Pluto is just magnifying that like crazy. So there's some kind of push and pull power dynamic energy that's going on here when it comes to resources and finances. So this can be, anything from child support money, shared bank accounts, to pocket money for your kids. Okay, so some of you may be feeling the pinch when it comes to having to support other people, or feeling like you need to ask other people for support. Maybe they're not supporting you. Maybe you're asking for more financial help or even emotional support and assistance, and you're not getting it. Maybe you've been asking for a pay rise. Maybe you've been asking for, more benefits at work, or like perks, let's say. Or maybe this is to do with something like maternity leave or paternity leave. In any case, I do see there being some kind of tension or inner frustration, whether you express this or not. For some of you, this is just on the inside when it comes to my money, my resources, other people's money. This person owes me money, that person owes me money, or, just feeling like there's an imbalance that's going on here. On a different note, this can indicate there being compulsive behaviors that you're trying to contend with and maybe eradicate. And this could be to do with overspending, or even sex, drugs, or some kind of addiction, or even just, like indulging too much in sweets and sugar and that kind of thing. Moving along though, on the 6th of January, Mars retrograde in Leo will leave your 2nd house and enter Cancer in your 1st house. So Mars will be retrograding Cancer in your 1st house from the 6th of January till the 24th of February. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, all Cancers will be affected, each and every one of you. But the ones who will be the most affected will be those between 17 and 29 degrees. And that is because Mars retrograde is transiting those degrees, but of course backwards. So it starts at 29 degrees, and that stationing degree is 17 degrees. If you're a Cancer at 17 degrees, you will be the most affected out of all other Cancers, because it's that stationing degree for you. So where to even begin? Mars retrograde in the 1st house can see you working out, exercising, setting goals for your body, for your health, for your fitness. This can see you having more drive, having more willpower. And, in terms of how this is going to play out, I just want to let you guys know that you've already experienced Mars in Cancer back in around September of 2024. And of course, we had a pretty intense pre-shadow period around November. But in any case, once Mars is retrograde in your first house, this is when you will have ironclad willpower and drive. And I have Mars natally in Cancer, as well as like a bunch of other stuff. So I can speak to this from firsthand experience that, you know, Mars retrograde in the first house, at least for me personally, I'm seeing it as a positive thing because I've been working out heaps. I've been setting huge goals and feeling more driven and whatnot. But of course, Mars isn't retrograde in Cancer yet, right? So I will just say be careful of burnout, be careful of overexerting yourself. Mars retrograde in Cancer in your first house can see you being more prone to flare-ups, allergies, accidents, upset stomachs, and whatnot. So that is something that you're going to have to, I suppose, be mindful of. Also, Mars rules over your fifth house, which is love, romance, sex, children, and owning your own business, as well as your creative gifts and passions and whatnot. And Mars rules over the 10th house. And the 10th house relates to your career and your public profile and your public persona. So and your statuses of all kinds, you know, relationship status, government status, parental status, employment status, and so on and so forth. So these themes can be coming up for you, but you're doing the work. So all of those aforementioned things can be coming up. You may feel tested in these departments, challenged in these departments, but you could have enormous drive and willpower to achieve and succeed and push the limits on what's possible or what's previously been possible for you. Okay, so now Cancer, let's have a look at the nodal shift. So on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the North Node is going to leave Aries in your 10th house and it's going to enter Pisces in your 9th house, and the South Node is going to leave Libra in your 4th house and enter Virgo in your 3rd house. So this takes a lot of pressure off of your family. This takes pressure off of your relationships and your living situation and circumstances. And you know, this transit is 18 months in length, so it will go until the end of July in 2026. Now, the 9th house is about travel, higher education, religion, spirituality, your political beliefs and your belief systems of all kinds, as well as, if I haven't said already, well, I know I've said it. Oh no, that was the previous sign. Anyway, I'll just get to it. Import and export as well as publishing. So while the North Node is going through the 9th house, this can see you having opportunities to travel, opportunities to learn, opportunities to teach. Maybe you're looking at import and export in terms of work and career or business, or getting your work published somehow. You may find that your religious beliefs are changing, your spiritual beliefs are changing, or even your political alignments and beliefs are changing. And with the South Node going through Virgo in your 3rd house, I don't know if you can hear that. There's like crazy thunder outside. Anyway, the South Node going through Virgo in your 3rd house can indicate detaching from certain friendships, detaching from perhaps certain sibling relationships. This can see you, on the flip side, reuniting with friends, reuniting with siblings. But in any case, the South Node in the 3rd house can just see you maybe even like deactivating certain social media platforms or channels, maybe doing a bit of a clear out or a clean up of that. And for others of you, this can see you just incorporating a lot of spiritual content and practices into your day-to-day life when it comes to what you listen to, what you read. So this can be like podcasts, books, YouTube channels, and so on and so forth. But Cancer, if you're wanting a really detailed and thorough breakdown of what you can expect with not only this Nodal Shift transit, but also the transits of 2025, you can purchase your 2025 yearly horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. Just in terms of a bit of a preview for 2025 for you guys, well, we've got Neptune and Saturn both entering the sign of Aries in your 10th house. So first of all, Neptune hasn't been in Aries since 1870. Hang on. It last entered Aries in 1865, I think it was, so, or 1861. So in any case, it was 165 years ago. And the last time Saturn was in Aries was nearly 30 years ago. So these are really important transits for you in particular, because Neptune and Saturn transiting your 10th house can indicate enormous change coming to relationship status, parental status, government status, employment status, and your career. Okay, having transits to the 10th house is one of the biggest indicators for enormous life changes occurring. So like I said, you can purchase for your rising sun or moon sign, doesn't matter what kind of Cancer you are, by clicking on the link in the description box below. But let's move on, Cancer. On the 13th of January, or the 14th, depending where you live in the world, we will have a full moon in Cancer in your first house at 23 degrees, and it will be very closely conjunct Mars retrograde in Cancer as well. Fortunately, it's making a perfect exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 11th house. So not only is it already very, let's say, potently felt when we have a full moon in our first house, to have it be conjunct Mars and making this really close, it is an exact aspect to Uranus. This just indicates how this is going to affect Cancers, is that it's like on another level. Okay, so I really think that you will be cutting out some kind of bad habit, achieving a goal, enforcing a boundary or reinforcing a boundary that's really important to you. Maybe this can see you overcoming issues with friends or someone in your wider network, or maybe even an older sibling. This can see you achieving a passive form of income with Uranus in your 11th house, or even receiving a lump sum of money, or just like some kind of big boon when it comes to passive or residual forms of income. A full moon in your first house. If you're a Cancer sun, maybe you're achieving an important career goal or career project, or launching a new product or new content out into the world. If you're a Cancer moon, this can see you overcoming issues or conflict with relationships, although with the conjunction to Mars, there may be a bit of a flare-up or a bit of a disagreement before that happens. If you're a Cancer moon, maybe you're buying a property, selling a property, relocating, or just having some movement or change happening on the property front. Maybe you're putting up the rent, or maybe a tenant that has been wreaking havoc in your investment property is finally vacating. Or perhaps you are being successful when it comes to winning some kind of case or like tribunal matter with your landlord. Now, on the 29th of January, before I flip screens, let me just say that this energy can be at play for 1 to 2 weeks before or 1 to 2 weeks after the full moon. Okay, so early Jan to late January. On the 29th of January, let's change screens now. There we go. Oh, gee, that's a lot smaller. Can I make that bigger? Yes, I can. There will be a new moon in Aquarius, and this will be at 9 degrees in your 8th house. New moons are all about a new beginning taking place, a new chapter. We're planting the seeds for something new. Because it's in your 8th house, this indicates that it's to do with mutual resources. Maybe you're opening a new bank account with another person. Maybe you are going to be applying to receive child support money, alimony money, or spousal support money. Maybe someone is agreeing to help you financially or with their resources. Maybe you are opening a new business with another person, or you are perhaps even, let's say, offering new services or something to do with work, which allows you to earn more money or earn money in new ways. The 8th house is related to sex, vulnerability, and intimacy. So some of you may be starting a new sexual relationship during this time, or if you're already in a relationship, this can see you taking your intimate life or your sex life to a different level. And for others of you, this can see you just feeling more close with your partner, or maybe looking at going into therapy with your significant other. It doesn't even have to be with your significant other. Maybe you're just looking at different healing modalities, or looking at, let's say, getting some sort of additional support. So maybe this is, with a psychologist or therapist, or maybe even looking at studying astrology or something to do with the occult. So Cancer, for the new moon in Aquarius, that energy will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before the new moon and 1 to 2 weeks after. So we're looking at mid-January to mid-February. So Cancer, that's all I have for you for January. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And now I'm going to move on to Leo. Hi Leo, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your your January 2025 horoscope. So as the year starts off, Mars is still retrograde in Leo in your first house, and it's retrograde in Leo from the 6th of January until the 6th of December. Okay, so for the first 5 days of the year, you'll still be experiencing that energy, which for you guys can manifest as having a lot of motivation, a lot of willpower, wanting to work out, wanting to improve yourself in terms of your physical health, your physique, and your vitality and energy levels. In saying that, tensions can be running high with Mars retrograde in your first house, because Mars is passion and drive and sex, but also anger, all right, and frustration. So on the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your first house will be opposite Pluto in Aquarius in your 7th house at 1 degrees. So, this is a high-level warning that discord or disagreements can break out on this day, or even plus or minus a couple of days. So from the 1st of January till about the 5th or 6th of January. So I mention it just so that you have a bit of a heads up that you may need to bite your tongue. You may need to keep your anger in check or your emotions in check. You may feel deeply triggered by another person because Pluto is in your 7th house, and the 7th house is the other, whereas the 1st house is the self. For some of you, maybe this is your significant other or your spouse. For others of you, this could be a friend or a client. But because Pluto rules over your 4th house, for some of you, this could be a family member. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have a disagreement on this day. You could just see something maybe online, which is very Aquarian, or just kind of have a situation from the past flare up, and you're just like, oh, this is like so frustrating. So I don't just want to tell you that you're going to be annoyed and frustrated and you'll just have to deal with it. I'm going to give you a few ways to channel that energy. So going for a run, working out, channeling this energy into something creative or something that you are passionate about. And yeah, definitely playing sport or doing some kind of physical activity. And if you are in a relationship and you get a feeling like this could be you and your partner heading for an argument, then go and play sport on this day together. Play tennis, or do something active together, even like go for a walk. That's another way you could sort of redirect that energy. So now let's have a look at what happens when Mars leaves Leo in your first house and enters Cancer in your 12th house. So Mars will be retrograde in Cancer in your 12th house from the 6th of January till the 24th of February, so just under 2 months. The 12th house is related to anything that we do in isolation, anything that we do in quiet solitude. It's also a very spiritual house, so meditation, yoga, retreats, even stuff to do with creativity and fantasy, so like creative writing, filmography, photography, getting lost in a book, music. All of this stuff is 12th house energy, or 12th house themes. So Mars retrograde here indicates that's where you'll be putting your energy then. Maybe meditating more, maybe getting into yoga, maybe working on creative projects behind the scenes. The 12th house is very much associated with self-sabotaging behaviors and shadow work. So Mars retrograde in the 12th house. The 12th house is also addictions too. So some of you could be trying to overcome an addiction, or, do some shadow work on your inner child, your inner healing, and really look at what your self-sabotaging behaviors may be and how you can overcome these and how you can eradicate these. So on the 11th or the 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to experience a nodal shift. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, I see. Sorry guys. This is what happens when you go live. So the North Node will be entering Pisces in your 8th house. So it's leaving the 9th house and entering the 8th house. The South Node will be leaving Libra in your 3rd house and entering Virgo in your 2nd house. So this is an 18-month transit, which will conclude at the end of July in 2026. And ultimately, the North Node will bring something new or bring something tangible to the house that it is transiting, whereas the South Node can dissolve something from the house that it is transiting, and or bring something back to that house. So something back from the past, because the South Node rules over the past. So the North Node in your 8th house can indicate that you are maybe combining your resources with another person, opening a bank account, receiving or will be paying child support money. Perhaps you will be drawing up a will or receiving an inheritance in this time. This can see you starting a new sexual relationship during that time as well. So that's another way that that could play out. You may be going to therapy, or just doing a lot of deep inner healing, or getting really involved in some kind of occult or esoteric practice. And I can't remember if I said this already or not, but in terms of sex and intimacy, this is ruled by the 8th house. So some of you may be, let's say, exploring new things in your sex life or in your intimate life. And for others of you, especially if you're single, this can indicate that you may be entering into a new sexual partnership, or maybe it's more than one partner during this period of time, especially if there's been what they call a dry spell. In any case, looking at the South Node will leave Libra in your 3rd house. The good news with this is that it can actually be a bit of a reprieve when it comes to tensions or discord that you may have been experiencing with a sibling, or with a friend, or even a co-worker or someone that you go to school with. But looking at it being in the 2nd house, right? So The second house is your personal resources and finances. When the South Node goes through the second house, this can be an indicator that it's harder to increase our personal income or our salary if it's just like you earning this solo. But different story when it comes to combined resources or combined earnings or money that you earn through other people, whether this is a shared business or, you know, having services and your clients paying you for those. So South Node going through the second house can kind of cap your personal income or salary. Or even if you're earning more money, you certainly can. You know, even if you get a huge pay increase, this can indicate that that money, like just as much money is coming out. So it's like, oh, I'm earning more money. Oh, I'm spending more money. And now I'm still kind of saving the same amount. So there could just be more expenses. On a different note, this can indicate that you are getting rid of possessions, getting rid of valuables, doing a big clear up and a clear out of a lot of your belongings. And of course, this can also indicate that you will be maybe cutting something out of your diet, because the second house rules over food. So then on the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, we will have a full moon in Cancer. So this will be in your 12th house and it will be conjunct Mars. It is making an exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus, which is in your 10th house. So the 12th house, which I've already sort of touched on with Mars retrograde there, can indicate that, well, a full moon in the 12th house can indicate that what's happening for you is really on an internal level, on a personal level. So this can be overcoming an addiction, overcoming self-sabotaging behaviors, overcoming self-destructive thought patterns and behaviors. This can see some of you perhaps completing a creative project. So maybe this is writing, maybe this is to do with film or photography or music. And for others of you, this can indicate having a spiritual awakening, a spiritual breakthrough. Maybe you are exploring Tantra with the full moon being conjunct Mars. And also the 12th house, which is anything esoteric in nature. Some of you may be attending a spiritual retreat around this time, or a meditation retreat, or having a breakthrough with meditation. So on a different note, because this full moon is making a perfect sextile to Uranus in your 10th house, whatever is happening for you around the 13th of January, plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks, so before or after, so kind of the whole month of January, this full moon energy is with you. So whatever's happening with this full moon, it can really greatly impact your personal, let's say, goals when it comes to life purpose, public reputation, public persona, how you want to be known in the world, and, you know, anything to do with career. And of course, you know, if you've been needing to kind of, let's say, gather your inner strength, like you're steeling yourself to put yourself out there, ask for more responsibility at work, or take a certain risk when it comes to putting yourself out there, then this full moon conjunct Mars and sextile Uranus in the 10th house can basically help you to cut through any self-limiting beliefs or doubts and experience some kind of breakthrough. Okay, so then Leo, on the 29th of January, there's a new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees. And of course, this is going to be in your 7th house. So it's opposite you. The Leos who will be the most affected would be those even as early as 1 or 2 degrees, because we've got, you know, Pluto and Mercury there. So let's say 1 degrees up to 14 degrees Leo, you'll be feeling it the most. So the 7th house relates to partnerships of all kinds, romantic, you know, our long-term relationship, marriage, business partners, as well as client relationships and even friendships and sales and contracts and so on and so forth. And if you have a look at this new moon, it's actually making a really close trine to Jupiter in Gemini, which is in your 11th house, which helps to, bring blessings and abundance to this new beginning or this new chapter that's taking place. So for some of you, you may be looking to enter into an exclusive relationship. You may be looking at getting engaged, there may be plans to get married. You and your significant other could be looking at going into business together with that conjunction to Mercury and Pluto. And maybe you and your significant other are looking at going overseas together around this time. So plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks. So this is, let's say, mid-January to mid-February. So maybe you're buying tickets around this time or planning a trip around that time. Some of you may be going into business with another person, or if you already have a business partner, maybe this is like, taking your business to a new level or exploring some kind of new dynamic. There could be an important new client relationship that takes place. And also, you could be looking at signing important contracts that have some kind of legal component or legal nature to it. So it's like, let's say, official documentation in some capacity. And so lastly, Leo, I just wanted to let you know that I do have my 2025 yearly horoscopes available for sale. So you can invest in yours, whether you're a Leo sun, moon, or rising, although the rising sign does tend to be the most accurate overall. And with these horoscopes, I go into so much detail with these exciting new astrological transits that we're going to be experiencing. So we've got Saturn entering Aries for the first time in 30 years, Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years, and we've also got Uranus entering Gemini for the first time in 84 years. But certainly for you guys, the highlight will be having Saturn and Neptune in Aries in your 9th house, making a trine to you. Okay, so this is going to be very positive and very uplifting for Leos. In any case, Leo, thank you so much for watching your January horoscope. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And now I'm going to move on to Virgo. Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. First of all, Happy New Year. So as for January, it's a big month on account of we have a nodal shift taking place. And guess what? This affects your sign, or should I say our sign, directly, because the South Node will be entering the sign of Virgo. And yes, I'm a Virgo moon myself. So before we get to that though, I do like to go in chronological order. So on the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 11th house is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. And this will be in your, did I say 11th house? Mars retrograde in Leo in your 12th house is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius in your 6th house at 1 degrees. So the 12th house is all about the unseen realm, what we do in the privacy of our own homes or bedrooms. It's like a very hidden house, let's say, in astrology. So it rules over things like yoga, meditation, retreats, but also it is one of the creative houses in astrology. So it relates to painting, music, the fine arts, film, photography, and acting, and so on and so forth. So also the 12th house does relate to our self-sabotaging behaviors, our self-destructive behaviors, and it's this real call to do the inner work, the shadow work, the inner healing, let's say. But with Pluto in Aquarius in your 6th house, The 6th house rules over your daily habits, your health, and it also rules over conflictual situations. It rules over debts and pets as well. So with this push and pull energy in your 12th and 6th house, this can see you really trying to strike a balance between, let's say, your healthy daily habits that you want to integrate, like how you want to better yourself, being productive, getting through, important to-do lists and whatnot, and then that energy of just wanting to be lazy, wanting to lie in bed, maybe feeling emotional or restless or even a little bit listless in nature. So if you do have certain, let's say, proclivities or perhaps even addictions, there may be temptations that arise around this time. But I would also argue that if there's something that you want to eradicate or cut out from your life that you perceive to be a bad habit or an addiction, and this could even be like an emotional habit, victim mindset, etc., well, this is a perfect time to do that, especially with the whole New Year energy, setting New Year's resolutions, and so on and so forth. So the Mars retrograde opposite Pluto in Aquarius transit takes place, well, let's say aspect takes place on the 3rd of January, but that energy can be with you from the 1st of January till the 5th of January, or maybe even the 6th of January. So you may just need to sort of do some real introspective work around this time. Moving along though, on the 6th of January, Mars retrograde will leave Leo in your 10th house, no, not your 10th house, in your 12th house, and enter Cancer in your 11th house. So the 11th house, from the 11th house, Mars is actually sextiling you. So this is a positive, harmonious transit, or let's say not transit, but aspect. But of course, this will be positive in nature as a result of that. And Mars will transit the degrees of 29 through till 17 degrees. So if you're a Virgo between 17 and 29 degrees, then you will experience the sextile. So Mars will be retrograde here for just under 2 months, from the 6th of January till the 24th of January. So this is a time where you can be working really hard on long-term goals and dreams, projects, anything to do with your wider network, your community, maybe forming a community, maybe looking at starting a social media channel. So this could be like a YouTube channel or an online business, or creating online content for your business, or maybe you're looking at organizing some kind of event or workshop. With Mars retrograde through the 9th house, this can indicate tensions may be running high with friends or with older siblings, or with someone who is in your wider network. But in any case, like I said, it is sextiling you. And I remember when I had Mars retrograde in my 11th house, this is when I started my YouTube channel, and this is when I started doing my first ever monthly horoscope series. So the Mars retrograde just indicates that you have to, let's say, hone that energy and willpower and passion and drive into achieving this project, or working on this project. And I do think some of you could be achieving a passive form of income during this time, or working towards that, even if it's not ready till early May, because that's how long the post-shadow Mars retrograde period will last until. Nevertheless, let's move on, Virgo. On the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the nodes will shift signs. So the North Node will leave Libra in your 8th house, and it will enter Pisces in your 7th house. Now here's the heavy hitter. sorry, I completely bungled that. The North Node will leave Aries in your 8th house and enter Pisces in your 7th house. The South Node will leave Libra in your 2nd house and enter Virgo in your 1st house. So in 2025, the nodes will transit 29 degrees backwards through till 11 degrees. So if you're a Virgo, between 11 and 29 degrees, you will experience the South Node conjunct your rising sun or moon sign in 2025. If you're a Virgo, rising sun or moon between 0 and 10 degrees, like myself, you won't experience this precise conjunction until sometime in the first 7 months of 2026. And if I didn't mention it already, this is an 18-month transit, so it's spanning 18 months from mid-January till the end of July in 2026. So the North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting. So this can bring a new relationship. This can bring and I mean romantic. This can bring a new dynamic to your existing relationship. So let's just say you're already in a relationship. Maybe, you're in an open relationship and you're becoming monogamous. Or if you're already in a monogamous relationship, maybe you're talking about getting engaged, getting married, starting a business together, buying property together, starting a family together, and so on and so forth. And, relationships aside, this can bring in a new business partnership or a new dynamic to your existing business partnership. This can bring you more clients, or this can see you offering new kinds of services if you are already in a service-based industry. And with the South Node transiting your 1st house, this will impact you in one way or another. But to have the South Node in your 1st house, this can bring you a spiritual awakening, intuitive gifts, intuitive downloads. This is a time of purging negativity from your life, purging toxicity from your life, letting go of old connections and relationships that no longer serve you. In fact, letting go of anything that no longer serves you. In saying that, the South Node can bring something back from the past. So this may bring you a former line of work, friendships coming back, former relationships coming back, and so on and so forth. It does have to be said that this is a time where it can lower your energy levels or lower your vitality levels. But in saying that, the South Node is such a spiritual energy. So it's like the reason that would occur, if it does occur for you, would be because you are, let's say, cleansing yourself, energetically cleansing yourself of toxicity, of negativity, or of anything that doesn't need to be in your system, in your aura, in your body. This is a great time for overcoming addictions, for, maybe cutting out alcohol or, drug use, and so on and so forth. There's so many different ways that this transit can play out for you, Virgo. And of course, in a general horoscope reading, I don't have time to go through all the different ways, but if you are looking for more information, I just wanted to let you know, in case you didn't see the introduction, that I now have my 2025 yearly horoscopes available for sale. So I go into huge in-depth analyses as to how this nodal shift will be impacting you as a Virgo rising sun or moon. So you can invest in this horoscope whether you are a rising sun or moon Virgo. And also the other heavy hitting transit for Virgo that I wanted to quickly mention is that Uranus is going to be entering the sign of Gemini for the first time in 84 years. So Uranus will transit your 10th house for about 7 or 8 years, which is going to just be such a huge mover and shaker transit for you, especially when it comes to career, but also your public status of all kinds. So enough of the promo work. Now let's look at the Cancer full moon. Okay, so on the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, there will be a full moon in Cancer at 11 degrees. In your 11th house at 23 degrees, and it will be conjunct Mars at 27 degrees. I don't know if you can hear that, but this is like crazy rain right now. It's the wet season where I'm living, so it's all lightning and thunderstorms. So hopefully that's not coming through on the video. But, you know, in any case, if it is, please bear with me. So with the full moon in Cancer in your 11th house being conjunct Mars at, very close conjunction, this full moon is indicative of you achieving a long-term goal or dream or a project, or perhaps, you know, this is about you releasing something out into the world or out into your wider network. This can see you maybe having an exciting experience when it comes to social engagements or, you know, certain friendships, and maybe there's something going on here. And also this could indicate that you may be receiving a lump sum of money. Okay, so you could be receiving a bonus from work, or something to do with passive or residual forms of income could be coming through for you around this time. What's exciting about this full moon is that it is making a perfect sextile to Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is in your 9th house. So this could be to do with an exciting travel opportunity, the opportunity to have your work published, or something that you do maybe relating to the import and export industry. This could see you connecting with a teacher or a guide or a mentor who instills such valuable wisdom in you. Or perhaps this is an opportunity for you to teach and to share your knowledge and your wisdom with another person, or maybe you're stepping into that role of teacher and you're taking on students somehow, or perhaps you're releasing some course content out into the world. Because this full moon is conjunct Mars in your 11th house, I do have to say, and Mars is retrograde too, that this can indicate perhaps a bit of discord with a friend or with someone in your wider network, or perhaps with an older sibling as well. But in any case, you know, this full moon is making positive aspects almost all round, except for that conjunction to Mars. Even in saying that, Mars is trining Neptune exactly at 27 degrees. And the moon and Mars are also trining Venus and Saturn in Cancer, even if it is a wide trine at that. So in any case, Virgo, I do see this as being something positive that happens that relates to your long-term goals and dreams, your wider network, friends, and, you know, just perhaps even experiencing more success in an online business or with your online platforms. Let's say if you're on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or something of that nature. Now let's take a look at the new moon in Aquarius. So I've just changed over that screen now. The new moon in Aquarius is taking place on the 29th of January, and this will be in your 6th house at 9 degrees. So this new moon is conjunct Pluto and Mercury. Okay, so Mercury we give quite a wide orb because it is one of the it is the fastest moving planet. Okay, so Mercury is your chart ruler. So this eclipse is somehow impacting you. The 6th house is work, daily habits, health, pets, debts, and conflictual situations. But this new moon is making a positive aspect. Look at that massive trine from all these 4 planets in Aquarius to Jupiter and Gemini in your 10th house. Okay, this is very exciting stuff. I think for many Virgos, this is indicative of new health habits, new daily habits and routines that are helpful, beneficial, and positive in nature. For others of you, new work, new employees, a new job could be, coming through here, maybe getting a promotion, maybe taking on more responsibility, maybe looking at expanding your business somehow. Some of you could be getting a new pet, or there could be a positive development when it comes to your relationship with your pet, or the lives of one of your pet or your pets in general. And, for others of you, this can see there being a positive turn for the better when it comes to your health, or some kind of health treatment or health modality that you want to explore and embark on. I repeat, new moons are about new beginnings and a new chapter taking place. So this is about planting those seeds, setting those intentions, putting those feelers out, and watering these seeds that you've planted, metaphorically speaking, and watching them grow. So that new moon energy will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before the new moon and 1 to 2 weeks after. So we are looking at mid-January until mid-February. So Virgo, I hope you enjoyed your January horoscope. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you guys in my February horoscope. Hi Libra Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. So I've got good news to report for you guys, and that is that the South Node will finally be leaving Libra in the month of January. So the South Node has been in Libra since mid-July 2023. So it's an 18-month period, and I know things have been tough, but even though I'm not going to discuss it at the very beginning of the transit, I just wanted to start the reading off on a high note. Okay, so we'll get into that about halfway through your reading. Now, on the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 11th house will oppose Pluto in Aquarius in your 5th house at 1 degrees. This transit, well, you may feel the effects a couple of days before, or maybe a couple of days after. So from about, the 1st of January through till the 5th, or maybe even the 6th of January. And ultimately, even though it's just a one-off, this happens every couple of years. I wanted to mention it because the energies can be quite powerful. So Mars, when it is retrograde already, brings a lot of frustration and tension just in the atmosphere and in the air as it is. But when it is opposite Pluto, this is oh, my trigger's being pushed, or things can really just rise to the surface, because Pluto has that nature where it's very secretive, but the opposition to Mars is it's exposing the truth, it's exposing that underbelly. So the 5th house relates to children, love, sex, creativity, but also creative projects and owning your own business. So Pluto here in the 5th house can be bringing up the underside or the shadow side of these elements. So I'll just run through a few different ways that this can play out. If you have children, well, this can be a bit of a power struggle with them, so they may be rebelling around this time. And with Mars retrograde in your 11th house, it's well, these are my goals, these are my long-term plans and whatnot. And so your child can sort of be testing you on that, maybe questioning you and your own plans, especially if they're a teenager or they're an adult, or even if they're younger, they may just be acting up or saying things that kind of catch you off guard. So again, tension could be running high with your child or with your children if you do have children. On a different note, if you are in a relationship, then this energy can play out as being at loggerheads over having different views when it comes to long-term goals and dreams and projects, or perhaps like your long-term financial vision with Mars retrograde in the 11th house, or this could even relate to your sex life and your intimate life, and certain things could be brought up by you, or maybe they're being brought up by them. Maybe this is just indicative of, let's say, a steamy or a sexual encounter with a friend or with a friend of a friend. So it doesn't have to play out on the level of frustration. Maybe for those of you who are in a relationship, this could somehow revive your intimate life or your sex life, especially if certain home truths are being spoken around this time. When it comes to creative projects, there may just be that fear of having your work being seen or releasing it out into the world. Maybe you're feeling pressured by friends or by clients or your online network or platform to deliver certain content or produce certain content, or maybe you are writing something or producing something that already has that nature anyway, where it's just has the nature of Pluto, where it's maybe shocking, or shocking's not necessarily the right word. That's more Uranian. It's more like scandalous, exposing, looking at secrets or hidden truths, and maybe you're revealing something out into the world via some kind of creative project or content that you have produced. So even if like you're single, you don't have kids, sex life, like that's just not on the cards, that's fine. This transit can just play out for some of you as feeling the pressure to create, the pressure to maybe, let's say, interact socially, or perhaps you're just feeling like, I'm not sure about these friends, I'm not sure about these people that I've been interacting with or liaising with. So it can bring a bit of like an us and them dynamic to the table. So on the 6th of January, Mars retrograde will leave Leo in your 11th house, and it's going to retrograde back into the sign of Cancer, which will be in your 10th house. So this will last for nearly 2 months, from the 6th of January through till the 24th of February, and Mars will be retrograde from 29 degrees back to 17 degrees. So Mars retrograde will be squaring you as Libras, and the Libras who will feel it the most will be those between 17 and 29 degrees, and especially if you're a 17-degree Libra. So this energy is tense, you guys. The Mars retrograde square is not super easy to handle, but because it's in the 10th house, this is to me indicative of you wanting to change your employment status, your job, your work, your public reputation, create something that you are then known for, or for your legacy. For others of you, this can see you feeling challenged in the role of parent or even grandparent, where it's just like, oh, I can't be as, I don't have as much as, I don't have as much control. I shouldn't be as controlling, or, maybe there's like this energy of being at risk of, let's say, meddlesome behavior, because Cancer is family and Mars retrograde squaring you is like wanting to get into the middle of that. So you may just have to like take a step back. Okay, I shouldn't ask my kids this, or, my kids are trying to put up boundaries with me. But on the other side of the coin, if you have struggled with, let's say, the role of disciplinarian or authority figure, then Mars retrograde here can see you just trying to put certain things in place so that you get the respect that you feel that you deserve, or you're looking at maybe rebalancing out certain power dynamics, whether that's with family or even in the workplace as well. Some of you may just be feeling really challenged at work, and this could be in a good way where it's like, hey, you're next in line for a promotion, or, you know, we know we can trust you, so we're wanting you to take on this high level of responsibility. And even if you work for yourself, you know, you could just be setting up your own business or working hard on your own projects, or to, let's say, advance your public profile in some way, shape, or form. Some of you may be looking at going through a bit of a transition period with your significant other, okay? Because Mars rules over the 7th house. So some of you may be breaking up around this time, but some of you could be working on your relationship, working on your marriage, maybe looking at a reconciliation with your former partner, okay? So moving along though, on the 11th or the 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to experience a nodal shift. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning. The North Node will leave the sign of Aries in your 7th house, and it will enter Pisces in your 6th house. Now, the South Node will leave Libra in your 1st house, and it will enter Virgo in your 12th house. So this will be an enormous reprieve and sigh of relief for Libra risings, suns, and moons alike, especially as you know, there's just been a lot of pressure on you guys since mid-July 2023. And in terms of when it was the most, let's say, pressurized or intense, that would be when the South Node would have been conjunct or very close to conjunct your rising sun or moon sign. So in any case, I will just say that the Mars retrograde in Cancer does indicate that there is still that pressure, especially for the first couple months of the year, but that will start to sort of taper off. Okay, so this is an 18-month transit. The North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting, whereas the South Node will dissolve something from the house that it is transiting. So North Node in the 6th house can indicate a new work, a new job, new workplace, new office, new employees, new day-to-day work protocols and systems. For others of you, this can see you taking on a whole new approach to health, okay? Because the 6th house rules over health. So maybe you're getting into health, educating yourself about you know, certain healthcare systems or healing treatments and modalities. Some of you may be welcoming new pets into your life, or there could be developments on the animal and pet front, even if you already have them in your life. Some of you could be applying for a loan around this time, and others of you could just be looking at integrating new and healthier daily habits. Okay, and this could relate to physical exercise or nutrition, or given that it is Pisces, maybe even spirituality. So trying to meditate daily or do yoga daily or something of this nature. So with the South Node going into Virgo in your 12th house, this can indicate that you're overcoming destructive behaviors or self-sabotaging behaviors. This can see you becoming more interested in something to do with the hidden realms. It's 4:44 right now on the clock, just as I said that. Well, it's 4:44 p.m. where I am. And anyway, the South Node in your 12th house could indicate that you are honing your intuitive abilities and your psychic abilities, and just getting more in touch with your spirituality. But it can also bring things back from the past. So maybe this is reviving your interest in meditation, in yoga, in spirituality, in the tarot, in astrology, and so on and so forth. So it is a good time if you're wanting to try to overcome certain addictions. The South Node through the 12th house can help you dissolve these. Okay, so this nodal transit is an 18-month cycle, which will conclude at the end of July in 2026. So moving along, Libra, On the 13th of January, there will be a full moon in Cancer, and this will be in your 10th house at 23 degrees, and it will also be conjunct Mars retrograde in Cancer as well. So this will be forming a perfect and exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus, 23 degrees in your 8th house, and it is also trining Neptune, as well as a wide trine to Saturn and Venus in Pisces in your 6th house. So first of all, this full moon is squaring you. Okay, so when we have a full moon in the 4th house or the 10th house, or a new moon in the 4th house or the 10th house, this can indicate that there are physical, tangible shifts that are happening in our life. The Libras who would be the most affected would be those around 23 degrees, plus or minus 5 degrees, so maybe 18 through till 29. Let's say 28, 29 degrees. And in any case, this can see you, some of you, maybe walking away from a job, maybe completing an important career milestone, maybe receiving a promotion or changing offices, or your boss may be resigning, or maybe if you own your own business, first of all, you could be launching a new product or a new service, or your new business could be ready to launch around this time. And given that there's this sextile to Uranus in the 8th house, this could indicate that there is financial support or support coming through from another person in the way of money or resources. And also, because the 10th house does rule over statuses of all kinds, whether these are property, relationship, employment, government, etc., etc., for some of you, this could indicate there being a very important development, romantically speaking. Okay, so it's like making important, significant decisions within your relationship. And with that, trying to Saturn and Venus and Neptune, these could be very serious or loaded topics about, whether we stay together, whether we move in together, start a family, get engaged, travel or buy property, etc., etc. So I do see this as an auspicious full moon, and the reason for that is because of the trine and the sextile that I've just mentioned. So the energy of the full moon will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before the full moon and up to 1 to 2 weeks after the full moon. So we're really looking at sort of the whole month of January. But moving along Libra on the 29th, so I've just changed the screen now, on the 29th of January, there will be a new moon in Aquarius at 9 degrees, and this one's going to be in your 5th house. Yay. It is going to be trining Jupiter in Gemini in your 9th house, and more importantly, it's going to be trining you as a Libra. And look, it's, only really making good aspects. It's conjunct Mercury, it's conjunct Pluto, but all of it, a lot of it is trining Jupiter in Gemini, and Jupiter is trining you in turn. So the 5th house is love, romance, children, sex, creative hobbies and passions, as well as owning your own business. So because it's a new moon, this is like starting something new or planting new seeds. So you may be entering a new relationship, taking casual dating to a new level, maybe just developing a crush on someone. Trust, Libra energy. If you are in a relationship already, maybe this is making important plans with your significant other. With 9 degrees, maybe this is about travel, maybe this is about doing long distance, maybe this is to do with education and learning something together, or even just like your vision for your future and perhaps getting onto the same page. Some of you may be looking at starting a business or expanding your existing business further, or even just like discovering a hobby or a passion that you're really excited about. And that trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your 9th house. So we've got 9 degrees, which is 9th house energy, and then the 9th house, which is the 9th house itself. This is very like Sagittarian energy, import, export, going big, expansion, optimism, adventure, travel, belief systems, education, spirituality, religion, blah, 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 blah. All of this stuff can be coming up for you in one way or another, whether you're learning about this stuff, incorporating it into your business or a creative project or a passion, or just these topics coming up with you and your significant other, or even you and your child. Oh, it'd be remiss of me not to mention that this could indicate that you are maybe looking at starting a family, conceiving, getting pregnant, and so on and so forth. So really exciting stuff, Libra. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that my 2025 yearly horoscopes are finally available for sale. I'm just trying to get out of the way here. So I put untold amounts of effort and time into the curation and the production of each and every horoscope. They are all 2 to 2.5 hours long each. These are video horoscopes, and I go through a very comprehensive breakdown and analysis of the astrological transits and activity of 2025. In terms of like a bit of a preview for you Libras and what to expect, well, your sign is one of the signs that will be very impacted by 2025. Why? We've got Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years and Saturn entering Aries for the first time in 29.5 years. So they will both be entering your 7th house. So this is huge developments that are coming through with business partnerships, clients, services, love, romance, relationships, marriage, and important decisions that you make with your significant other. Okay, so that's one part of it, but then the other transit that is significant to you as a Libra would be Uranus entering the sign of Gemini for the first time in 84 years. So Uranus will transit your 9th house and it will trine you. Okay, Uranus trining you is just, it's an amazing transit. And I know because I'm a Virgo moon and I've had Uranus in Taurus trining me for the last 7 or 8 years. And it's really about breaking out of self-limiting beliefs, blockages, and just having exciting opportunities when it comes to travel and education with it transiting your 9th house. But I'm not going to give the whole farm away. If you want to purchase your Libra horoscope for 2025, you can do so via the link in the description box below. But without further ado, but no, that's it, Libra. We've come to the end of your January horoscope. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. And in any case, I will see you in February next month. Thanks, Libra. Ciao. Hi Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. First of all, Happy New Year. And second of all, let's just dive straight in. So on the 3rd of January, Mars, which is your ruling planet, will be retrograde in Leo in your 10th house, opposing Pluto, your other ruling planet, in Aquarius in your 4th house at 1 degrees. So both of these planets are ruling you, which means that you're going to feel something with this transit, okay? Whether you experience something that involves other people, let's say like family, your significant other, children, or your housemates with Pluto in the 4th house, or perhaps something to do with work or your boss. What you experience could involve these individuals or these themes. If not, then it could just be like an internal pressure or feeling within, which relates to let's say interests that are perhaps like polar opposite in nature or diametrically opposed. So you may just feel this like tug of war or internal push and pull energy between who you want to be, how you want to be known, your public persona, reputation, what you want to do for work, the legacy that you want to create versus what's going on the internal. What about my commitments to my family? What about my living situation? You know, what about my property and living circumstances? So in any case, there could just be like feeling like you're being, let's say, pulled in multiple different directions by, you know, either your mind going in different directions, or the heart wanting something different from what the head is telling you, or perhaps literally having people be like, hey, I need you to help here, I need you to help there, and da 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 da. Okay, so this is the 3rd of January plus or minus 2 or 3 days. So pretty much from the beginning of the year till around the 5th or the 6th of January, you may just be feeling a little bit like, like a bit of in a bit of a funk or a bit of a rut, or just sort of low energy. But this is a general reading, and I don't want to like project this onto you. You know, maybe you have other signs in your chart where these planets are making harmonious aspects to you. Okay, so on a different note, maybe this is just going to manifest as feeling motivated, feeling driven. You know, I'm gonna make this year my year, and like start that new business, start that new career, end that toxic relationship, heal that relationship with a family member, and just do things differently. So I really think it'll just be like a lot of introspective work and deep internal shifts that are starting, well, pretty much from the beginning of the year. On the 6th of January, Mars, your ruling planet, will be leaving Leo in your 10th house and retrograding into Cancer in your 9th house. Phew, this is much easier energy to navigate, because now Mars will be trining you instead of squaring you. So this is like, it's going to be chalk and cheese, like how you felt in December compared to how you feel in January and even February, because Mars will be, you know, Mars will be in Cancer actually till, you know, well into March. So this is going to be a lot easier for you when it comes to channeling your willpower, your drive, achieving goals, achieving objectives, and not feeling so, let's say, pushed and pulled in multiple different directions. Mars will transit the degrees of 29 backwards through till 17 degrees. So if you're a Scorpio, between 17 and 29 degrees, you'll be receiving this trine. Okay, the rest of you, maybe that energy just won't be as potent. So Mars retrograde in the 9th house can indicate a huge focus on travel, getting your work published, import, export, your belief systems, whether these are spiritual, religious, political, working on yourself in terms of like self-development, spirituality, educating yourself, and breaking free of self-limiting blockages and belief systems. So on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the nodes are going to leave Aries and Libra and enter Pisces and Virgo respectively. So the North Node will be transiting your 5th house, and the South Node will be transiting your 11th house for 18 months until the end of July in 2026. The North Node will bring something new to the house that it transits. The South Node will dissolve something from the house that it transits. But in some cases, the South Node can bring something back from the past to that house. So we'll just dive straight in, shall we? North Node in the 5th house can bring through new creative projects, new hobbies, new passions, starting a new business, expanding your existing business in a new direction. Maybe you're going to start writing a book. On a different note, this can indicate children entering your life, getting pregnant, becoming a parent, step-parent, adoptive parent, grandparent, or maybe, you know, nieces and nephews, and you're like, or students, like there's just like new children, that youthful energy that's entering your life somehow for some of you, maybe not all of you. And if you already have children, this can indicate a new development happening in their life. Okay, so maybe your child is entering a relationship, maybe your child is getting pregnant, starting a new job, you know, going off to travel or study, or just entering a new phase of their life. Okay, so the fifth house is also related to love and romance. So some of you may be entering a new relationship, finding new love, taking your existing relationship to a new level. The fifth house is also related to sex. So maybe there is a new sexual relationship starting, or if you're already with someone, then you could be exploring a totally new set of things in the bedroom and a new level of I mean, the fifth house, I would say, is more kind of like playful, whereas the eighth house, which is also one of the houses that relates to sex, is more so about intimacy. But in any case, it's like just, you know, having more fun in that department. And the same goes for your relationship, like leisure time, fun, frivolity, and just putting yourself out there, maybe going to more events or parties and just feeling like you have some kind of like lust for life again. Okay, so with the South Node entering Virgo in your 11th house, well, this can indicate distancing yourself from some friends or from your wider network, walking away from a community, letting go of long, tightly held goals and dreams for the future. Maybe not so much dreams, more like projects. Okay, some of you may be deactivating online social media accounts, but like I said, it can bring things back from the past. So this can see you reconnecting with friends that you've lost touch with. This can see you rebuilding connections with those friends. The 11th house rules over older siblings. So if you've been having a difficult situation, difficult time with your older sibling and your relationship, this can see you purging toxicity from that and just healing things within that relationship, especially if you've been in a no contact situation. Moving along though, on the 13th of January, there will be a full moon. Let me move over here, give you some space to see. There will be a full moon in Cancer, and this will be in your 9th house, conjunct Mars retrograde. So full moons are all about a chapter coming to a close, the end of a cycle, and this can also indicate achieving something. So the full moon in the 9th house is actually going to be making an exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 7th house, which is affecting your relationships of all kinds. And fortunately, this full moon will actually be trining Neptune. Look at that. Mars, which is your ruling planet, is making a perfect trine to Neptune in Pisces. Also, it's trining Venus and Saturn. Yes, it's a wider trine, but hey, we're looking for good aspects here. So I won't lie, the conjunction to Mars can indicate a bit of tension, flare up, restlessness, a feeling like, oh crap, like I have to do this now, like a sense of impatience, especially when Mars is retrograde. Like Mars already has that energy, and then the retrograde is just like, and Mars conjunct the moon can have that like flare up of emotions, but like ultimately the sextile to Uranus and the trine to all of this Pisces activity, these planets in Pisces, is overwhelmingly positive. So some of you could be having an opportunity to travel abroad, travel interstate, maybe completing a college degree or a university degree, maybe having the opportunity to meet with an important teacher or religious figure who, like, maybe that's where that emotion is coming through, where you're like, oh my God, this meeting has to go well. I can't embarrass myself. And, there's just like maybe preparation that goes into you meeting someone who's important to you, or someone who's just like an authority figure or a figure that you deeply respect somehow. Some of you could be launching something when it comes to publishing, so maybe getting work published, a thesis, a book, an article, a podcast that's circulating. Maybe there is a launch of something to do with your business that relates to import and export. And like I said, it affects your 7th house of relationships. So some of you may be getting married, traveling with your significant other, making important decisions about your future. And it does have to be said that some of you may decide to pick this moment to file for divorce. And, you know, because the full moon is conjunct Mars, and Mars is your ruling planet, and it's like making these positive aspects to Uranus and to these planets in Pisces, I see this as, let's say on the spectrum of how you think things will go, it going better than how you think it would go. Obviously, that's, you know, a very loaded topic. Most of you know, or most of you who've been watching my horoscopes know I've been through the exact same thing. And, you know, sometimes this kind of stuff just all comes down to timing. But again, you know, this full moon is trining you. So it's positive, it's liberating, it's freeing, it's exciting. I feel excited just talking about this this full moon. And in any case, let's move on, Scorpio. I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. So on the 29th, now I've just changed the screen. On the 29th of January, there will be a new moon in Aquarius. Okay, so this will be in your 4th house at 9 degrees. Forgot to say, with the full moon, the energy of that full moon will be with you, or could be with you, 1 to 2 weeks before or after the full moon, which means basically the whole of January. With the new moon in Aquarius, this energy can be with you 1 to 2 weeks before to 1 to 2 weeks after. So from around after the full moon to mid-February. Okay, so a new moon is about planting the seeds. A new moon is about setting intentions, you know, doing something new. And basically, it's like a new chapter starting. It's a new beginning, but it's like those nascent beginnings, like something's just burgeoning. It's not like fully fledged and yielding results. Okay, so the 4th house relates to family, property, and living circumstances, as well as your emotional health and well-being. So this new moon is conjunct Mercury and conjunct Pluto, and Pluto is, of course, one of your ruling planets. So it will be trining Jupiter in Gemini in your 8th house at 11 degrees. This is a very close trine to the new moon, which we love to see. And ultimately, you know, this can play out on a few different levels. You may be looking to buy, looking to sell, looking to relocate, looking to purchase an investment property, looking to get new tenants in, looking to expand your property. Maybe 9 degrees is interstate and abroad. So you could be looking to buy or relocate interstate or internationally. You may be planning to move in with someone, or someone may be planning to move in with you. And I do feel that this would involve some kind of interstate or international territory here. Or perhaps you're finding out that someone in your family that you live with will be relocating interstate or abroad. On a different level, this can see you making plans to move in with your significant other, or, you know, for those of you who are already with your partner and living together, maybe you and your partner are looking at living abroad for a period of time, or starting a family, or expanding your family further. All of that aside, this could relate to a new chapter starting with respect to your relationship with your parents. My apologies, Scorpio. So this new moon could relate to you basically experiencing a new chapter when it comes to your relationship with your family, especially with your parents or whoever was the primary caregiver in your life. And for others of you, you could just develop an interest in wanting to know more about your family, your ancestry, your lineage, you know, the lives of your grandparents or your great grandparents, or, you know, whatever whatever the country was that they originated from or that you have roots in. Okay, Scorpio. So lastly, if you're interested in finding out about the energies of 2025, I do actually have my 2025 yearly horoscopes available for sale. So each horoscope is 2 to 2.5 hours in length, and you can invest in yours for your rising sun or moon sign. And I couldn't even tell you how much time and energy and effort I put into making these. I think I spent about 3, 4, 5 hours making notes before even sitting down to film. So it's a very comprehensive look at what you can expect, and it all flows in chronological order. And for Scorpio, I would say the important things to note for 2025 is that you're going to have this sixth house energy and activity with Saturn and Neptune entering Aries into your sixth house. So, if you're looking to change jobs, to start a business, to improve your health, then, this period of time is going to see you doing a deep dive into that. But also Uranus is finally leaving your seventh house, which means that your relationships can start to calm down. So in any case, Scorpio, I hope you enjoyed your January horoscope. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Take care. And now let's move on to Sagittarius. Hi Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. First of all, Happy New Year. And second of all, let's start from the top like usual. On the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 9th house will oppose Pluto in Aquarius in your 3rd house at 1 degree. So fortunately, Mars in Leo retrograde in Leo is trining you. Pluto in Aquarius is sextiling you. So that means that these energies are easier to handle than, let's say, a square or a conjunction and opposition. But in any case, this does indicate a bit of a push and pull energy between 3rd and 9th house themes. So the 3rd house represents siblings, extended relatives, neighbors and friends, and lots of other things, but I'm going to start here. And the 9th house rules over your belief systems, religious, political, world beliefs, spiritual beliefs, and so on and so forth. So this can indicate feeling massively triggered by people that you're talking to about one or more of those topics. So this can see you just fundamentally disagreeing with whoever it is that you're speaking to, or whatever it is that they have to say. Or perhaps this is to do with things that you see online, or whether this is social media or the news, YouTube, things that you're reading, etc., with Pluto in the 3rd house. And this could be something that you find, again, really, really triggering, really angering. And with Mars retrograde in Leo in the 9th house, it's like, okay, this goes against my beliefs. This goes against what I think should be happening in the world, or what I believe politically or religiously or spiritually, and so on and so forth. So yes, you could be having these conversations with these individuals, or you could just be reading things or consuming content or just hearing it, and you're just like, ugh, this isn't for me. Okay, on a different note, this can see you creating content or saying things that triggers other people. Okay, so maybe people don't like what you have to say. Pluto in the 3rd house is like revealing the truth, revealing the ugly side or the underbelly of certain things. And so you could just find that you know, people aren't responding well to what it is that you have to say. So what's the solution here? I mean, you could channel this energy in a different direction. Okay, so you could just remove yourself from these conversations. You could just look at deactivating your social media account for a little while, or muting people or certain news sources and what have you. Of course, this can play out in a positive way and in a productive way. This could see you having an important conversation with a sibling, with a friend, or with a teacher or a mentor figure, or someone who just imparts wisdom on you or with you that is very helpful and very healing to a situation that is specific to you. So this energy will be with you probably from around the 1st of January till the 5th or the 6th of January, but you know, right on the button would be the 3rd. On the 6th of January, Mars will leave the sign of Leo in your 8th house, and it's retrograde, right? So it's going to retrograde back into Cancer in your 8th house, and it will be retrograde until the 24th of December, transiting the degrees of 29 Cancer back to 17. Okay, so Mars actually performs really well in the 8th house, and that is because the 8th house is a house, it's this house here, right? And it's ruled by ruled by Mars. Scorpio is ruled by Mars. And so Mars likes to be in the 8th house, is the point that I'm clumsily trying to make. So basically, with Mars retrograde here, this can see you overcoming fears. This can see you discovering the truth of something, getting to the root, getting to the bottom of something, some important, let's say, mystery or secret or something you feel has been eluding you. This can see you having a breakthrough with your psychologist, or maybe with like an astrologer or a tarot reader or something like that. This can see you deepening your knowledge when it comes to occult and esoteric topics and practices. This can see you working on your intimate sex life with your significant other with Mars retrograde, because Mars retrograde is like, I'm putting energy and effort into this and then some. If you are single and let's say you've been involved with someone romantically or sexually before, then this can see you reigniting that relationship. On the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the nodes are going to shift signs. So the North Node is going to leave the sign of Aries in your 5th house, and it's going to enter the sign of Pisces in your 4th house, whereas the South Node is going to leave the sign of Libra in your 11th house and enter the sign of Virgo in your 10th house. This is an 18-month transit. The degrees will transit 29 back through till 11 degrees in 2025. And then what that means is that the Sagittarians who will feel this the most will be those between 11 and 29 degrees. If you're between 0 and 10 degrees, then you will experience the square from the nodes in the first 7 months of 2026. So the North Node will bring something new to the house that it is transiting, and the South Node will dissolve something from the house that it is transiting. Another interpretation for the South Node could be that it is returning something back from the past. Something's coming full circle. Okay, so North Node in the 4th house can indicate that you are starting a family. Let me preface this by saying that the North Node will generally bring something brand new, something you haven't experienced before. Okay, so this can be buying a house with another person. Maybe you've never, co-owned property. This could see you moving in with someone that you've never lived with before, or maybe moving out with friends. Maybe you've never lived with friends before, maybe buying an investment property for the first time, or perhaps relocating somewhere where you've never lived before. This can see you becoming a parent for the first time. So maybe you're getting pregnant, maybe your significant other is getting pregnant, or even if you have children already, maybe you're becoming an adoptive parent or a foster parent or a step parent. Again, there's like some kind of new element to whatever the North Node is introducing into your 4th house. The South Node transiting Virgo in your 10th house is one of those hallmark signs of walking away from a job or a career, maybe retiring. For some of you, this could be maybe like just transitioning into a different part of the company, so you're not doing the same job anymore, even if you're still working at the same place. Or this could be a period of not working, okay? For some of you, this could be unemployment. For others of you, maybe this is like maternity leave or paternity leave, or you're having to take leave for some kind of reason. And maybe, look, I see this as like significant leave, not like 1 week. You know, that's not sort of what I mean by the South Node going through the 10th house, but it could even be that, you know, you still keep your job, but you just need to take more time off here and there. And maybe your work's really accommodating. You know, I'm not commenting as to that. Look, Sagittarius, if you're wanting a more in-depth breakdown of what you can expect with this nodal shift, especially with these nodes transiting such important houses as the 4th and the 10th, I do actually have my 2025 yearly horoscope for sale. So I have just released these, and you know, I've put in a lot of energy. It's taken a good 2 months to produce these, but when it comes to Sagittarius and what you can expect, there's good stuff happening in 2025 for you guys. We've got Saturn and Neptune entering Aries in your 5th house of love and romance and children and owning your own business. We've got Jupiter, which is still transiting your 7th house of partnerships and marriage for the first half of the year, which I go into some detail about. And of course, we have Uranus entering Gemini for the first time in 84 years in your 7th house. So this will be a real exciting shake-up to, let's say, relationships. And there's a lot of exciting changes and new transits and cycles that are happening in 2025. So you can purchase your horoscope by clicking on the link in the description box below. But enough of that, let's keep going with your horoscope. On the 13th or the 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, there will be a full moon in Cancer in your 8th house at 23 degrees, and it will be conjunct Mars retrograde. What's great about this full moon is that it is sextiling Uranus in Taurus in your 6th house, and it's a perfect sextile at 23 degrees. We've also got Mars making an exact trine to Neptune in Pisces. And if you see here, we've got the moon and Mars in Cancer trining Neptune, and also Venus and Saturn in Pisces as well. So what this means is that there is supportive, helpful aspects that are at play with this full moon. And a full moon is about a chapter coming to a close, something reaching a culmination point or its peak or the end of a cycle. And in some cases, it's like seeing the fruits of your labor, right? So having this full moon in your 8th house can indicate that you may be combining your resources with another person, receiving help from another person financially or with respect to their resources, whether this is like emotional support, maybe someone babysitting your kids, which may be much needed with this full moon in Cancer ruling over children and babies. And for others of you, this can see you actually starting the the conception process, or not starting the conception process, maybe conceiving around this time, because the 8th house is related to fertility, and Mars would be the impregnation point, to get super specific. On a different note, the full moon in the 8th house can indicate that you are discovering the truth of something. This has been eluding you. You've wanted to get to the bottom of it. You wanted to know about this, that, and the other. And the full moon in Cancer conjunct Mars retrograde is like insightful and incisive. Okay, so you can just procure the exact information and knowledge that you need to advance in some way, shape, or form. This can see you experiencing a boost to your mutual resources, maybe receiving a lump sum of money. Your partner may receive a lump sum of money. They may help you out financially. This can indicate a big breakthrough in terms of your intimate life and your sex life. With the conjunction to Mars retrograde, this can indicate a bit of a flare-up, whether this is like a disagreement or an argument. But then with these trines and these sextiles going every which way, it's like healing energy. Okay, especially with this sextile to Uranus in your 6th house, I think that this can see you overcoming certain financial blockages or debts, overcoming conflictual situations or painful situations when it comes to disagreements, especially if this relates to your workplace. So this could be resolving some kind of workplace problem or issue. And also with this full moon in Cancer, it is making these positive aspects to your 4th house. Okay, so we've got Venus, Saturn, and Neptune here in the 4th house. So this could be healing something with, your family member, someone that you live with, or resolving a conflictual situation which pertains to your property and living circumstances. So maybe getting on the same page as someone else. So this is on the 13th or the 14th of January, but the energy of the full moon can be with you up to 1 or 2 weeks before the full moon and 1 or 2 weeks after. So we can say the whole month of January pretty much. But then at the end of January, we've got a new moon in Aquarius. So I've just changed the graphic on the screen here. The new moon in Aquarius is at 9 degrees. It's in your 3rd house. It's conjunct Mercury. It's conjunct Pluto. And it's trine Jupiter in Gemini in your 7th house at 11 degrees. Yay. Jupiter is your ruling planet. This new moon is only making that one massive trine positive aspect to your ruling planet. So something's going right. Something's going good for you guys. And this can indicate that you may be learning something new, enrolling in an education program, producing educational content, going into business with another person, or taking your existing business to another level. Maybe buying or selling a new vehicle, well, a vehicle, doesn't have to be new. And because we've got this new moon occurring in your 3rd house, this also indicates that neighborly energy, okay? So you could be making friends with your neighbors, meeting people in your local community, doing something or involving yourself in your local community somehow, making a new friend or forming a new friendship group, maybe joining some kind of class with other people, because the 3rd house rules over things like, group work and classes. So it's a really exciting way to end the month, Sagittarius. And with this new moon, the energy of it will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before and 1 to 2 weeks after the 29th of January. So pretty much any time after the full moon in Cancer through till mid-February. Okay, so Sagittarius, that's all I have for you for January 2025. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up for me. If you want to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Have a blessed 2025. I hope that is full of abundance and love and prosperity and peace and adventure and travel, because you Sagittarians love that. And now I'm going to move on to Capricorn. Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope and also Happy New Year. So 2025 is a huge year, but we're only going to focus on January this month. On the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 8th house will oppose Pluto in Aquarius in your 2nd house at 1 degree. So this is affecting 2 of your 3 money houses. The 8th house is all about your mutual resources. So this is like shared bank accounts, shared investments, shared properties, money that you earn through other people, but it is also reflecting your partner's personal income. Now, the 2nd house rules over your personal income, your personal finances and resources. So Mars retrograde is already a kind of tense energy to begin with. So throw in that opposition to Pluto. And look, I won't lie, you do have yourselves a tense, energy with this one. And that goes for all signs. It just depends like which houses these are in and how that's playing out for you. So for you guys, in those first few days of January, themes related to money, resources, finances, what you're contributing, what they're contributing, what you owe to people, what they owe to you, all of this stuff could be coming up. So there could be some power dynamics that you have to contend with when it comes to finances and resources. There may be important decisions that you have to make that relate to what you invest financially and how much access you allow other people to have to your resources, especially because Mars rules over your 4th house, and this represents children and family and like anyone that you live with. So this could be your spouse, your significant other, or even like flatmates if you're in a share house. So you may just have to make important decisions about, how much money am I going to contribute to my kids, whether this is something as simple as pocket money, or perhaps this is to do with helping them out with their wedding or buying a house. But for others of you, there may just be conflicts or disagreements when it comes to who you live with. It's like you're using my stuff, you're using my clothes, you're borrowing my things without asking, or you borrowed this thing and you damaged it and now you need to pay for it. Okay, so these kinds of conversations could be coming up. On a different note, this could indicate that you're having important conversations or even just internal thoughts and reflections upon your personal values, your money mindset. Do you have a scarcity mindset? And also your intimate life and your sex life as well, with Pluto and Mars being the 2 planets that represent sex, and then the 8th house also relating to your sex life and your intimate life. So again, that's on the 3rd of January, but that energy could be with you from about the 1st up until maybe the 5th or the 6th of January. On the 6th of January, Mars will leave the sign of Leo. So it's retrograde in Leo in your 8th house, and it's going to re-enter the sign of Cancer in your 7th house. Okay, so Mars will be opposing you as a Capricorn Sun, Moon, or Rising, and this will be for nearly 2 months. So from the 6th of January until the 24th of February. So the Capricorns who will feel it the most will be those between 17 and 29 degrees, because those are the degrees that the opposition is taking place in Cancer. So when Mars is retrograde in the 7th house, this can indicate, well, of course it can play out on a few different levels, but tensions could be running high with your spouse, with your significant other, with your second-born child, with your business partner, or perhaps with certain clients and people that you work with in a one-to-one capacity. But on a different level, this can indicate that you may be working really hard with your significant other. This could be like working out physically, going to the gym, taking on some kind of goal or objective together, maybe looking at starting a business together. If you own your own business, this could see you just working really hard to satisfy certain clients or client relationships, or get maybe like a sale or a deal over the line. If you have a business partner, you may be trying to basically brainstorm ideas on how you can expand your business further or improve things. For others of you, you may have to go back to work on certain projects or tenders that like a client has brought back up to you, and they're like, hey, this wasn't done quite right, or can you revise this or review this? And for those of you who are in a relationship, maybe your significant other just has a lot of pent-up energy that they are needing to expel, and maybe they're working out really hard at this time. In any case, with Mars retrograde in your 7th house, if you've been experiencing discord or issues in your relationship with your business partner, your significant other, or your second-born child, which are all represented by the 7th house, this can see you working really hard to overcome that. Now, on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, we're going to experience a nodal shift. Okay, so the North Node is going to leave the sign of Aries in your 4th house and enter the sign of Pisces in your 3rd house. Conversely, the South Node will leave Libra in your 10th house and enter Virgo in your 9th house. So, I'm not going to lie, this is taking a lot of pressure off of you guys, because the nodes have been squaring you since mid-July 2023 for 18 months. Okay, so this can indicate that things can kind of start to like shift or calm down when it comes to your property and living circumstances, family matters, questions, queries, uncertainties, and conundrums as it relates to your career and what's going on with work. So with the North Node in the 3rd house, this can indicate that you are learning new things, starting new classes, making more friends, maybe starting an apprenticeship, maybe getting a new qualification or a diploma, maybe becoming an educator or a teacher. Not so much to do with university and like colleges and professors and that kind of thing. It's more like teaching maybe primary school or short classes, or teaching online or something of that nature. Some of you may be procuring a new vehicle. With the South Node entering Virgo in your 9th house, this can indicate that there may not be as many opportunities to travel interstate or overseas. Although having said that, for some of you, maybe it's that you're returning somewhere where you've traveled before, or you're finally traveling somewhere where you've always wanted to travel, because the South Node can bring things back around from the past. The South Node going through the 9th house can actually be a time where you are taking a step back from your religious beliefs, your spiritual beliefs, your political beliefs, and maybe even walking away from these. So it can actually be a time of uncertainty here, where you're like, I don't know if I believe in that anymore. I don't know if I believe in like God or this religion, or, I don't know if I'm aligned politically to this party anymore, or even just world beliefs can be shifting on a really big level with this particular transit. Okay, so this is an 18-month transit from mid-January until the end of July in 2026. Now, let's just see. The 9th house also rules over our vision for our future. Okay, so the South Node going through the 9th house can indicate you becoming very, very spiritual, and maybe like channeling or having downloads of information when it comes to what you want to do with your life and what the next step is. So then on the 13th of January, there will be a full moon in Cancer. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. There we go. There will be a full moon in Cancer in your 7th house. So that's on the 13th or the 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, at 23 degrees. And it will also be conjunct Mars retrograde too. So because it's opposing you, you'll feel it, especially if you're around 23 degrees plus or minus about 5 degrees. And this full moon is actually making an exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 5th house, and it is trining Neptune and Saturn and Venus in Pisces, which are in your 3rd house. So this can see you, let's say, overcoming a conflict or a situation that involves perhaps your significant other, your business partner, a client, maybe your second-born child. This can see you maybe even entering into a relationship around this time, or agreeing to take your relationship to the next level, romantically speaking, or to a different level, to a higher level of commitment, let's say. On a different note, this can see you, for some of you, perhaps walking away from a client relationship or a business partnership. And if that's the case, I see this as being, if not amicable, then at the very least something that you're happy is happening and you're relieved about it happening. But again, look at those trines, look at that sextile. This is like a very positive energy. But of course, the opposition to you can create a bit of like friction or tension, or just like maybe a little bit of nerves when it comes to mustering up the courage to have a very, very important conversation with another person. This can see you fulfilling your obligation to another person, or some kind of commitment or promise. And it's like, okay, this isn't my problem anymore. I'm done with this. Like in a good way, where it's like, okay, I hold up my end of the bargain. Now I'm free. And for others of you, you know, you may have to actively break your word or a promise to another person, because Mars is retrograde, and maybe this is something that you feel a little bit nervous about. But it's like, look, I know I said I could do this, or that I would do this, but I just can't. And you know what? I actually see this as being well received because of that sextile to Uranus and that trine to the other planets in Pisces. So the energy of the full moon will be with you plus or minus 1 to 2 weeks before or after the full moon. So let's say pretty much for the whole month of January. Now on the 29th of January, just change the screen here, we're now looking at the new moon in Aquarius. So this will be in your 2nd house, okay? And this will be at 9 degrees, right? So a new moon is all about a new chapter taking place. We're planting the seeds. We're wanting to see something new enter into our lives. So ultimately, this, because it's in the 2nd house, this can see you generating a new stream of income, looking at how you can increase your income, increase your salary. Maybe you are purchasing something like, you know, more resources, or investing in something. Maybe it's cryptocurrency because of all of this Aquarius energy. This new moon is conjunct Mercury and Pluto, and it is making one big fat trine to Jupiter in Gemini, which we love to see. And that's in your 6th house, okay? So this could see you being successful in being approved for a home loan, or maybe a loan for a business. For others of you, you may be looking to start a business because this new moon is conjunct Mercury, and you know, the trine to Jupiter is in your 6th house, which relates to work. So maybe you're wanting to sell new products, or perhaps you're looking at developing a product or creating something. And again, like starting this business, again, I do think it has some kind of online component or element to it, or perhaps this relates to a new social media account, and maybe this is to do with finances, resources, crypto, or something to do with the 2nd house, like food, farming, hair, makeup, beauty, etc., etc. So with that new moon energy, we are looking at the 1 to 2 weeks before to 1 to 2 weeks after. So anytime after the full moon in Cancer, so mid-January through till mid-February. And lastly, I was going to say Aquarius. Lastly, Capricorn, I have finally completed my 2025 yearly horoscopes. So if you're wanting to purchase your horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. 2025 is just off the charts when it comes to pretty much a paradigm shift on all of these different levels, because we've got Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years, Saturn entering Aries for the first time in nearly 30 years, Uranus entering Gemini for the first time in 84 years. We've got a nodal shift. We've got Jupiter entering Cancer. That's probably one of the biggest ones for you. This is going to be really, really positive for your love life and for your relationships to have Jupiter go through the 7th house. Of course, Saturn is your ruling planet. So to have Saturn changing signs indicates that in 2025, you'll get a preview as to what the next 2.5, 3 years are about. So you can watch for your rising sun or moon sign. I do recommend investing in all three, but if you're only going to invest in one, then I would start with your rising sign. So Capricorn, thank you for watching your horoscope. If you enjoyed this reading, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead and your year ahead, Capricorn. And now I'm going to move on to Aquarius. Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. 2025 is going to be such a huge year astrologically, but let's just focus on January for now. On the 3rd of January, Mars will be retrograde in Leo in your 7th house and making an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. So Mars retrograde will be in your 7th house, and Pluto in Aquarius, of course, is in your 1st house. For this particular transit, this aspect will be pretty brief. You may feel it a couple of days before and maybe up until around the 5th or the 6th of January. But in any case, this can indicate a bit of a power struggle or push and pull energy between you and another person. So you may just feel a little bit more easily triggered around this time, and this could be with a friend, this could be with even a sibling, because Mars does rule over your 3rd house, but the 7th house where it is retrograde could indicate that you could just be having a tense conversation or feeling as though there is a tense energy between you and your significant other, you and a business partner, or perhaps you and your second-born child. In saying that, you could have a really clarifying conversation around this time where one of you, probably you, because Pluto is in your 1st house, may be, let's say, revealing some deeper truths that are going on for you emotionally, and maybe this is something you've been holding back saying for a long time because you just weren't too sure. On a different note, this could indicate that you and your significant other could potentially be looking at let's say starting a business together, or expanding your existing business together further, or working together in a collaborative effort on some kind of project, given that Mars rules over your 3rd house. And of course, we've also got Mars and Pluto ruling your 10th house, which relates to your career. Lastly, with this one, there could just be a bit of, let's say, discord when it comes to your expectations within the relationship. And this could be with your significant other, or perhaps even with a business partner, or even a client, where it's like you're wanting to, one of you could be wanting to put a label on things or redefine things, and maybe the other person just, is experiencing a bit of resistance to that. On the 6th of January, Mars will leave the sign of Leo. So it's still retrograde, and it will be retrograding back into the sign of Cancer, and this will be in your 6th house. Okay, and Mars will be retrograde in your 6th house from the 6th of January until the 24th of February, so just under 2 months. Look, I actually like a Mars retrograde in the 6th house, because this is the time where you can be incredibly productive, getting through to-do lists, getting through high priority things that are, let's say, a part of life admin for you. And for others of you, this can see you doing, let's say, meaningful work, or just work that makes you feel like you've achieved something, or satisfying work when it comes to your job. Now, you do have the 6th house ruling over employees. So Mars retrograde here can indicate that you're maybe pushing your employees to produce more, to do better, or to just carry out certain projects. But for others of you, this can see you having to make difficult decisions. Do I keep this person? Do I not keep this person? You know, does this person have a future in my business or in my company, and so on and so forth. With Mars retrograde in the 6th house, first of all, it rules over pets, and second of all, Cancer rules over dogs. So you will just want to be careful if you do have a dog or dogs, that they, are kept on a lead if they are in areas where they need to be on a leash or on a lead. And, if they often wear like a muzzle, or you have certain protective measures in place just because of the nature of your dog's temperament, or when if you know what it's like around other dogs or animals, then you may just need to be extra mindful and extra careful during this period of time. I know that's a bit of a random one, but I'm leaving it in here. Felt like mentioning it. Now, on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the nodes are going to shift signs. So the North Node's going to leave Aries in your 3rd house and enter Pisces in your 2nd house, and the South Node is going to leave Libra in your 9th house, and it's going to enter Virgo in your 8th house. So typically speaking, the North Node will bring something new into the house that it is transiting, and the South Node will dissolve something from the house that it is transiting, or the South Node can bring something back from the past. So the North Node in your second house can indicate that you are finding new ways to make money, generating new streams of income, maybe making some new investments, procuring new resources. The operative word here is new. Okay, because the North Node is like this fresh energy, this new energy. In saying that, this can indicate new expenses that are coming through, and some of you with the 2nd house ruling over teeth as well as diet could be trying out new diets, experimenting with new diets, or getting dental work done that you haven't had done before. So for example, maybe getting your teeth straightened or whitened for the first time, or something of this nature. The 2nd house also rules over your taste in general. So this is like taste when it comes to food, but then also hair, makeup, wardrobe, beauty, and so on and so forth. So the North Node here can see you experimenting with your appearance and your wardrobe, and maybe just developing a different aesthetic taste, let's say. With the South Node going through your 8th house, this can see there being less money in your pooled resources or in your mutual resources. So if you have a joint bank account with another person, maybe they are contributing less, or maybe there are just more joint expenses that are going out. On a different note, this can see you no longer needing to pay maybe child support money or spousal support, is that what it's called? Or alimony money. And for others of you with the South Node being here in the 8th house, this can see you maybe deciding that you don't need therapy appointments anymore, you don't want to see your psychologist anymore. Also, because the South Node can bring something back from the past, this could see you maybe revisiting a conversation with another person about money that they owe you, or like combining your resources together. And there are many, many different ways that this particular nodal shift can play out for you. I don't have time to go into all of the various different ways, but Aquarius, I just wanted to mention that if you are interested in going more in depth, I do actually have my 2025 yearly horoscopes available for sale, and 2025 is just on a whole new level when it comes to new astrological cycles that are beginning. And the most notable ones for you as an Aquarius would be Saturn and Neptune leaving your second house in Pisces and entering your third house. And the reason for that is because they're going to be making a sextile to you, which is really positive. But I would say maybe more importantly would be Uranus leaving, in fact, definitely more importantly, Uranus leaving Taurus and entering Gemini in your fifth house. So Uranus has been squaring you in the sign of Taurus since 2018. So this could have brought through many disruptive episodes when it comes to your family life, your property and living situation, things just changing on a dime. And so now with Uranus entering Gemini in your fifth house, this is going to be so much more supportive and easier to navigate, and it's going to help unlock certain creative gifts and talents, and it can also bring through exciting new developments in love and romance as well. So I don't want to give the whole farm away. If you guys are interested in purchasing your 2025 yearly horoscope, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description box below. And of course, you can invest in your rising sun and or moon. If you're only going to buy one, I would start off with your rising sign. But if you are looking to invest in all three, then that will give you a really thorough and comprehensive idea of what you can expect for the month ahead. But moving along with the January report, on the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, there will be a full moon in Cancer, and this will be taking place in your sixth house. It will be conjunct Mars retrograde, and it will actually be making an exact sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your fourth house. And Uranus is your ruling planet, so we love to see a positive, harmonious aspect to our ruling planet. So in any case, full moons are about a chapter coming to a close, the end of a cycle, something reaching its peak or a culmination point. So with it being in the sixth house, this can see you overcoming a workplace dispute, maybe overcoming some kind of legal dispute or situation. This can see you perhaps being successful in receiving a loan from the bank. Perhaps this is for a property of yours or to purchase a property. And for others of you, this could see you maybe quitting your job, walking away from a job, or transitioning from one line of work to another, or from one job or one department to another. Or perhaps if you own your own business, this can see you perhaps launching that or launching a new product or a new service. I do sort of see this as there being a conflictual situation that comes to an end, or something that has just been causing you feelings of uneasiness or dissatisfaction or discontentment in some way. And now it's like a breath of fresh air. Whew, now I don't have to worry about this and I can tick this one off my to-do list. For others of you, this could be receiving a clean bill of health. Now, because the full moon is conjunct Mars retrograde, no matter how this plays out for you, there may be some kind of high stress moment that prefaces a positive result. Of course, this is a general reading, so I can't, apply this as a copy paste to each and every one of you. So take it as it resonates, but just know that with the sextile to Uranus and the trine to Neptune and Saturn and Venus in Pisces, there's a lot of harmonious and, let's say, beneficial astrological supporting astrological activity that is going alongside this full moon. So the energy of the full moon can be with you 1 to 2 weeks before the 13th, 14th of January and up to 1 to 2 weeks after. So pretty much the whole month of January, this energy could be at play. So on the 29th of January, there will be a new moon in Aquarius in your third house, and this will be not third house. in your first house, and this will be at 9 degrees. And this particular new moon is making an enormous trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your 5th house, and it is conjunct Mercury and Pluto as well. So it's only making the one aspect, and it's to Jupiter, which is the greater benefic, which brings abundance, prosperity, optimism, wealth, and all kinds of good stuff essentially. So when we have a new moon in our sign, first of all, this represents a new chapter that is starting, that's important and basically centric to us. But the Aquarians who will feel it the most will be those at 9 degrees. And I would say even 1 degrees, 2 degrees, given that we've got Pluto and Mercury there, up until about 14 degrees. But again, like bingo if you're 9 degrees on the button. So this can indicate that you are setting new goals for yourself, maybe wanting to start a new business, maybe looking at making some new friendships. Some of you could be looking at getting involved in education on account of it being 9 degrees, which is the Sagittarius degree, and the conjunction to Mercury, which is one of the planets associated with learning, and then the trine to Jupiter is, again, learning and education. Maybe you are looking at facilitating some kind of interstate or international trip. Maybe this can involve a road trip with Mercury here, or traveling with siblings or potentially friends as well. Because we've got a new moon in your 1st house and it's trining Jupiter in your 5th house, this could indicate a new romantic development happening, and maybe this is with someone that you study with, or someone that is of a different cultural background to you, or who you meet while you are abroad. In any case, I do think that there will be some kind of pivotal shift in your mindset, in your goals, in your demeanor, and just honestly even in your energetic aura and just the feeling about you. This is just a very positive new moon, and it looks very liberating and very freeing. So the energy of this new moon will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before. Okay, so let's say anytime after the full moon in Cancer, and up to 1 to 2 weeks after. So let's say up until around mid-February. So Aquarius, thank you so much for watching your horoscope. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. In any case, enjoy your month ahead, and I'll see you guys in February. So now let's move into Pisces. Hi Pisces, Sun, Moon and Risings. Welcome to your January 2025 horoscope. First of all, Happy New Year, my beautiful Pisceans. And second of all, this is a huge year for you guys. Not year, this is a huge 18-month transit that is starting in January, because the North Node is going to enter your 1st house for the first time since 2006 and 2007. That's the last time that the North Node transited Pisces. So this will be a very, very important transit to pay attention to. But as always, I do like to go in chronological order. So I'll start with the first transit of the month, and then we can talk about the nodal shift about halfway through. So on the 3rd of January, Mars retrograde in Leo in your 6th house is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th house at 1 degrees. Now, this opposition happens about once every couple of years or thereabouts, but Mars is not retrograde very often. So this is not a common transit in that respect. In any case, whenever Mars and Pluto are opposite, this is where we can feel like there are power dynamics at play, fears of loss of control or change, or just feeling like things are shifting underneath the surface. So Mars retrograde in the 6th house is all about your health, your daily habits, your routines, and it also rules over your work as well. So the job that you do, the day-to-day work that you do. Whereas the 12th house is a very hidden house in astrology. It's like the unseen realm, our shadow side, and it rules over self-sabotaging behavior as well as having a victim mindset. So to have this opposition falling on this particular axis indicates to me that around the start of the year, so the 3rd of January, even as early as the 1st of January, and maybe taking it up till around the 5th or the 6th of January, you may just have this sense that you just can't keep going on the way that you've been going when it comes to not acknowledging certain things, or the elephant in the room, knowing that you need to make healthier changes when it comes to your day-to-day habits, routines. Perhaps this relates to, let's say, alcohol use or consumption or drug use in some respect. So wanting to overcome certain addictions. They don't just have to be substances, you know, this could also be a porn addiction as well, or sex addiction. Of course, this is a general reading, so it's not going to apply to all of you. On a different note, this can see you feeling quite pressured to maybe find work, change jobs, overcome certain hurdles when it comes to the workplace, or just feeling like, generally speaking, you want to be more productive with your day and with the work that you're doing. And you, like, honestly, I actually see this as a positive transit for you guys, because it's happening on that internal level and then that every day. And so I say positive if it pertains to those of you who feel like you've been in a rut, you want something to change. This can be that emotional shift that you need to propel you in that direction. So on the 6th of January, Mars retrograde will leave Leo in your 6th house, and it's going to enter Cancer in your 5th house. Well, this is going to be easier to handle in the sense that Mars will be trining you, okay? So anytime a planet is trining you, it's a lot easier to handle than when it's not, okay? The positive aspects in astrology would be trines and sextiles, and depending on the planet, conjunctions, okay? So in any case, this will be a nearly 2-month transit. It will last from the 6th of January till the 24th of February, and the Pisceans who will experience the trine will be those between 17 and 29 degrees. So the 5th house rules over owning your own business, love, romance, sex, children, as well as your creative projects, creative talents and hobbies and passions, really. So Mars retrograde here can see you channeling a lot of effort into one or more of these domains. So this can see you working hard at starting your own business or expanding your business that you do own further. Some of you could be working on preparing for some kind of performance. So this could be an athletic performance with Mars, because Mars rules over sports, or this could be to do with some kind of position of leadership or power where you're having to show up as a leader. So for example, maybe giving some important talk or demonstration. With Mars retrograde here in the 5th house, this could indicate that some of you may be experiencing certain trials and tribulations with your children, so with child rearing and parenthood. Maybe your child is just sort of going through a rebellious stage, or they could be acting up a little bit, or perhaps there are just certain developmental things that you are working through. On a different note, if they're a bit older, maybe they're at that age where there could just be arguments or tension in the household. I don't want to sugarcoat things, but just remember, this is like less than 2 months of this transit. And on a different note, this could indicate that some of you are re-entering the dating world, or, you know, if you had been sexually intimate with someone before, then, or even romantic with someone before, you could be reconciling with them or just trying to get your relationship back on track. If you are in a relationship already, this could be a time where you're feeling a little bit tested. This could even be what you may class as a make it or break it period for you and your significant other. So this is what I would say. And remember, this is a general reading, but if you're in that camp where you're pretty close to throwing in the towel, I would put forward a suggestion to maybe just wait. See how you feel at the end of February before you make hard and fast moves. If you get to, after Mars is direct again and you're like, yep, I still feel the same way, maybe reassess then. But that's just a suggestion, and this is just a general reading. So anyway, on the 11th or 12th of January, depending where you live in the world, the nodes are going to shift signs. The North Node is going to leave Aries in your second house and enter Pisces in your first house. The South Node is going to leave Libra in your 8th house and enter Virgo in your 7th house. The nodes travel backwards, and in 2025, the nodes will transit 29 degrees back through till 11 degrees. So if you're a Pisces rising sun or moon between 11 and 29 degrees, you'll experience the conjunction in 2025. If, however, you are a Pisces rising sun or moon between 0 and 10 degrees, then you won't experience this conjunction, so North Node conjunct your sign, until sometime in the first 7 months of 2026. So it's a very exciting transit, and it will last until the end of July in 2026. So the North Node will bring something new to the house that it transits. The South Node will dissolve something from the house that it transits. But in some cases, the South Node can bring something back around to the house that it transits. I'll make it make sense if it doesn't already. So to have the North Node go through your first house can indicate, gosh, so many things. Where to begin? For some of you, a new career, a new job, a newfound goal in life or life purpose, especially if you're a Pisces rising or sun. This can indicate you wanting to change your appearance and actually go through a physical transformation in terms of anything that the physical appearance rules over. All right, so this could be your dress sense, hair, makeup, wardrobe, but then skin, what was I going to say? Your aura, your energy, how you appear to other people as well. Like all of this can change while the North Node transits your first house. So you can actually look completely different, during or after the transit. So this could be weight loss, or this could just be enhancing your appearance somehow and just looking like a totally different person. And for others of you, especially if you're a Pisces moon and also Pisces rising, less so Pisces sun, this could indicate a new relationship, new property, new living circumstances. As a Pisces, you could become a parent during this time. Long story long, by the time you get to the end of the transit, so after the 18 months is up, your life will look very, very different in at least one core area. Okay, if you're the Pisces who would be the most affected would be those who are Pisces risings, just because the rising sign is generally speaking the strongest. But even as a Pisces sun or moon, you'll still experience some kind of pivotal shift with this one. To have the South Node go through your 7th house can indicate that you may be detaching from certain friendships, walking away from certain business partnerships and collaborations, maybe not servicing as many clients, or certain client relationships may draw to a close. This can indicate that you could be going through a breakup or a divorce during this time, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. Even if you do, though, this could, for some of you, indicate going through one breakup, but then within the same transit, within the same 18-month period, ending up in a new relationship or meeting someone special or someone that, you know, you fall in love with them. For some of you, this won't be all of you, but the South Node can bring someone back from the past. So this can indicate getting back with an ex from, you know, 1 year ago, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, remarrying the same person, or realizing that you have deep romantic feelings for someone and, you know, you weren't aware of this, like your feelings and emotions were hidden even from yourself, right? So there are so many different ways that this can play out. I don't have time to go through all of them because this is a general reading, but Pisces, if you are interested in knowing more, you can purchase your 2025 yearly horoscope. I have just released these. They've been a real labor of love and took me hours and hours and hours, about 2 months to complete in totality. And I do go into incredible depth and detail with not just the nodes entering Pisces and Virgo, but also Saturn and Neptune changing signs. Neptune is one of your ruling planets, so when it changes signs, it's a big, big deal for Pisces, and this is a new 165-year transit cycle, I mean to say, that is starting, but also very exciting, Jupiter is entering the sign of Cancer for the first time in 12 years. Jupiter is your ruling planet, so when that planet of yours, that chart ruler, changes signs, this indicates that your energy and your attention is being redirected to the house that it is transiting. And I've got good news for you. One, Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. That means it's its favorite sign to be in, arguably. Some astrologers could say that, you know, Jupiter wants to be in its home sign, but, you know, Jupiter is exalted and happy and just performing really well in Cancer. And also Jupiter is transiting your 5th house, and the 5th house is love, romance, children, sex, creativity, owning your own business. And so Jupiter is the planet of good luck and blessings and abundance, and so to have Jupiter transit the 5th house, it's bringing good stuff into your life. So, you know, I don't want to give it all away, but I would just highly recommend that you do invest in your Pisces horoscope, if nothing else than to know how Jupiter in Cancer is going to affect you. So you can invest in your horoscope for your rising sun and moon sign. Investing in all three will give you a very well-rounded idea and a thorough and comprehensive look at what you can expect for the year ahead. But let's continue on with January, shall we? On the 13th of January, let me make this a bit bigger for you. There will be a full moon in Cancer, and this will be in your 5th house. It will be conjunct Mars retrograde, and it will be making a sextile to Uranus in Taurus in your 3rd house. Okay, so this particular full moon is also trining Neptune and a wide trine to Venus and Saturn as well in Pisces in your 1st house. So there's a lot of helpful, beneficial astrological activity that is accompanying this full moon. In any case, full moons are about a chapter coming to a close, a cycle reaching a culmination point or a peak. And so the full moon in the 5th house can indicate that some of you may be launching a business, launching a new product or a service, achieving some kind of creative project or milestone, maybe discovering, not necessarily discovering, rediscovering a hobby or a passion of yours, and you're like, yes, this is what I love doing. Or maybe you have the understanding and the knowledge that I want to work in this field, I want to start a business in this, I want to learn more about that. And for others of you, this can see you taking your romantic relationship to the next level, or maybe you're taking a casual situation or situationship to a sexual level, or you're finding out that, you know, someone has feelings for you, or you're sharing that you have feelings for them. So maybe there's like an exciting date that's going on or happening around this time. Maybe there's an opportunity for you to party or socialize or just do something fun. Yes, this full moon is conjunct Mars retrograde, so there may be a bit of like a trigger here or a moment of tension. This could be with your significant other or your child or your children. But following that moment of tension, I do see this as an opportunity for you to let your hair down, indulge, have fun, spend time with friends, explore your creative gifts and talents, and, just take a load off, I suppose, is the term that comes to me. So that will be on the 13th or 14th of January, depending where you live in the world, plus or minus 1 or 2 weeks. So pretty much the whole of January, that energy could be with you. So on the 29th of January, there will be a new moon in Aquarius, and this will be at 12 degrees in your 9 degrees in your 12th house. So new moons are about a new chapter taking place in our life, a new beginning. We're planting the seeds, we're setting intentions, we're putting, the wheels in motion and the plans in place. The 12th house relates to our spiritual side, okay? It's inner work, meditation, yoga, anything esoteric in nature. And it also is a really creative house. So it relates to music, the fine arts, painting, drawing, creative writing, poetry, etc. So this can see you starting a new project, perhaps, that relates to something creative in nature. So you could look at writing a book, or starting a new painting or art piece, or acting in a movie or a film, or maybe getting into photography or filmography. On a different level, this can see you maybe looking at attending a spiritual retreat or planning a spiritual retreat. Or you could be exploring meditation or exploring yoga. In any case, this is a beautiful new moon because it is making this lovely trine to Jupiter in Gemini in your 4th house. So on an internal level, maybe this relates to you going through a period of deep emotional healing, especially as it relates to childhood wounds or family dynamics. And so with this new moon, the energy will be with you 1 to 2 weeks before the new moon and 1 to 2 weeks after. So anytime after the full moon, okay, so from about mid-January through till mid-February, you can be experiencing these effects or seeing what sort of new chapter is taking place in your life. And so Pisces, thank you so much for watching your January horoscope. If you enjoyed it, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. In any case, have a blessed and beautiful year ahead for 2025, and I'll see you guys in my next video.